Good evening, everybody. It is Thursday, February 12th, 6:31 p.m. It is the February Citywide Council on Special Education's calendar and business meeting. Welcome. Um, First, I'd like to start off with the interpreters. If interpreters, can you please introduce yourself and in the chat box, give the information for our audience, please? Can we start with Mandarin tonight? Mandarin, please.
大家晚上好。那如果您需要听中文普通话翻译的家长，请您用电话拨打347-966-4114，然后请您输入会议号码 ID 879-986-428井号键。再说一次，这个电话号码是347-966-4114，然后请您输入会议号码 ID 876-986-428井号键。那同时也请您把您的电话或者电脑静音，这样子不影响到传译的工作，也避免影响到其他听众。谢谢大家的合作。Announcements completed.
Thank you, Mandarin. And Spanish, could you please introduce your service?
Buenas tardes todos y bienvenidos a esta reunión informativa, la reunión mensual. Para poder escuchar y participar en español, por favor marquen en sus teléfonos el 347-966-4114 y ingresen la clave de la conferencia, que es el 186-953-627 y el signo numeral. Repito, para poder escuchar esta reunión simultáneamente del inglés al español, marquen en sus teléfonos el 347-966-4114 e ingresen la clave de la conferencia, que es el 186-953-627 y el signo numeral. Favor de mantener sus micrófonos en silencio para evitar ruido de fondo y para no interrumpir la interpretación. Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. And Spanish interpreter, could you please put your service info in the chat box for our audience? Thank you. All right. Roll call, please. Roll call. Francesca?
Roll call. Francesca here. Dr. Sinai, not present. Joanne?
Present.
Heather?
Here.
Mark?
Present.
Ying Zing?
Here.
Maggie?
Present.
Susie? Not present. Gia?
Here.
Virtual. And that's really it. Nobody else is here. Kim and Jonah is not present.
Okay. Thank you. All right.
Kim is here. She is virtual.
Great. Thank you. And Francesca, you are the timekeeper for tonight. You've got our fancy new timer to help keep us on track. The numbers will turn red at 1 minute. It'll beep when time is up, and we move on to the next part of our agenda. All right. So first, we have our guest, Office of Special Education. Thank you, Office of Special Education. Chief Sanchez, Johanna, thank you. Online, we have DIIT as our Division of Instructional and Information Technology. Their team is here to talk about really one of the most important systems, back-end systems that we have. They currently run the CCSE system, which is being used in conjunction with the new, I'll call it toy, but new database management system called Atlas. Atlas is currently being used for our youngest of students right now. And we'll learn a little bit more about the new database management system and when we can see a rollout for the rest of K-12. So DIIT, thank you for coming. We really appreciate it. And we look forward to this conversation for the next hour. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Avery Beck. I work at DIIT on the Atlas project. I've got my colleagues Anna Lemons and Vadim Gellerman here as well. We are excited to present to you all. I'm going to pull up my slides and then we will go from there. All right. Can everyone see my slides okay?
So we can see them. Thank you.
Great. All right. So it's good to be here with you all. I have spoken with you all perhaps about a year ago, and I know there are a couple people here now who were there then, and many people who are new. So it's nice to meet those of you who are new to the CCSE. I will be walking you all through a bit of information about Atlas today. I'll be giving you a quick overview of what Atlas is. I'll be talking about our release schedule, which parts of Atlas are already out in the world, and which parts are coming out in the near term. Pardon me. I'll be talking about some of what we've learned from the first release of Atlas. And then we'll get to some really exciting stuff, which is talking to you all about the planned parent portal, which will be the family-facing component of Atlas. And then what we're thinking in terms of family engagement and ways that we would be really excited for you all to participate when we get to that phase of the project. Thank you to those of you who submitted questions in advance. Some of those will be covered naturally through the course of the slides. And there are a couple that I will kick off the Q&A with at the end. And then, of course, we welcome any other questions that you've got as we move along. So to move right into things, Atlas stands for Accessible Tool for Learning About Students. It is a new system designed to streamline how special education cases are managed, covering every step of the process from referral to placement to delivery of services for students with disabilities. Atlas replaces several older systems. On the preschool side, with the preschool release of Atlas that came out last fall or last December 2024, several of those preschool systems have already been phased out. And eventually Atlas will replace CSIS as well, which will bring all of our special education data into one centralized platform. And all staff who work with students who have IEPs will be using this platform to support them in their progress. And so in the past, a lot of the information for students with disabilities, especially in preschool and then also in the school age world, has been scattered across several different systems, which made it hard to track and update records. So Atlas will simplify everything by consolidating that all in one place. Atlas will eventually benefit over 200,000 New York City students with disabilities from birth to age 21, making it easier for folks to access information, making it easier for teachers, providers, and families to collaborate on supporting students and ensuring every student has the support and services that they need. So we're very excited about it and excited to talk to you all about this today. So getting into our phased release of Atlas. So as I mentioned, in December 2024, we had our first release of Atlas. That was for preschool age students, and it contained a distinct set of functionalities from referral through placement. And so we got our first group of staff in there a little over a year ago, and we've been adapting to the new system and then preparing for the future releases to come. We're doing the implementation of Atlas in phased releases so that we can learn as we go, so that we can introduce, pieces of change while we work towards the big release, which will be in December 2026, which will be for all school age students. And December 2026 is when ultimately Atlas will replace CSIS as the system of record to support special education for New York City public schools. And then at the bottom of this slide, you'll see that we're working towards a future release, which will come after what I'm calling release 2, which is Parent Portal, which I'll talk about in greater depth in the next couple slides. And I'm excited to dig into that with all of you. For those of you who are CCSE members who have seen parts of this presentation when we've met with you previously, you'll see that there have been some adjustments to our timelines. We've learned a lot from our first release, and that has led to some shifts in our schedule based on those lessons learned. So we extended our timeline leading up to release 2 to really give ourselves a long time to ramp up to that, to do change management, and to also just continue refining the product as well as refining what we had already released, and creating system improvements based on user feedback. So as we move into the next slide, I'll talk a little bit more about our phased implementation. So as I mentioned, we learned a lot from our first release. We started with the preschool special education population, which allowed us to release a smaller portion of the system to a distinct set of users to see how that went, to get a feel for how users use the system, and also just like what sorts of transition challenges occur when we're moving from a very old set of mainframe softwares, that were literally, some of them were built in the 70s when software looked very different, and what that change feels like for staff who are using these systems. And so that release provided us a lot of valuable insights that we are taking forward with us as we prepare for future releases. The staggered schedule also helps us to just, ensure things are working well, gather feedback, and then be really well prepared for future releases. So some of the challenges and responses that we experienced with the first release of Atlas, one was just, change management. It's hard. It's hard to have a lot of folks learn how to use a new system. It can really create a lot of, a lot of change in someone's day when they've maybe done something on paper and pen for decades, or they've used a very different system. Or in this case, for preschool, we were also bringing in multidisciplinary evaluators who work at the 4410s, many of whom had never used a software like ours before. So this was entirely new to them. And so some of those supports that we put in place to address those challenges, we had targeted training and hands-on support for all new users of the system. We specifically focused on staff who are less accustomed to using a similar software. So for example, someone who uses CCSE currently will find there to be quite a bit that they're familiar with in Atlas. But if someone is coming in having not used a system previously, there's a bigger learning curve, and we want to be aware of that and help meet people where they're at. We also had weekly office hours with Atlas trainers for staff like CPSEs who are intensive users of Atlas, so they could come to us as they were using the system with questions that they had that were coming up as they adjusted to the new software. We also had training materials online available for immediate reference. Atlas is broken up into what we call modules. And so each phase of the IEP process through placement and delivery of services is a module in Atlas. And so each module has its own set of training materials that walk staff through how to complete that process in the system. And we also created a self-guided training course, which is available online for staff. Another one of the kind of groups of challenges that we encountered was when you're implementing a new and complex system, you learn a lot as soon as it's out in the world. You learn that there are things that users want to have change, things that are maybe not working exactly the way that you want them to. And so we really hit the ground running. We've done 100 new features since launch, very much informed by user feedback, what people want to see, how they use the system, how it's working for them. And then we also have been deploying enhancements, small fixes, data remediations, things like that on a weekly basis. And I would say, building off of this, is we've really developed a system for taking in feedback from users, collaborating between DIIT and Dial to identify which are the most pressing issues. So doing, a triaging of the feedback that we're getting, and then regularly releasing updates to the system, which has allowed us to really iterate over the last 13 months or so that it's been since we released the first phase of Atlas. a few of the key takeaways from our first release. Support for change management is essential, and we want to approach a major release like this with change management strategies that are specifically tailored to each user group. So like I was talking about, it's different for someone who's accustomed to CSIS versus someone who's entirely new to using a system like this. It's definitely different based on people's roles and which parts of the system they're interacting with. We also had a resource swarm immediately post-launch. I've hit on a couple of these things already. We had office hours. We had extra staff on our help desk. We were really listening to where users were experiencing challenges to address any additional training needs, anything that was not clear enough in the existing materials, or anything further that needed to be built out. And again, all of this just fits into the phased approach that we've been taking to ensure system stability step by step, by starting with preschool, then expanding to our school age population, and then after that, expanding to the parent portal, and additional features that we know are going to be added to the existing Atlas software after we've got kind of the core product out in the world. So from there, I will move into Parent Portal. So this is the fun part. Parent Portal will be the family-facing portion of Atlas. Families will access it through NICSA. It is a comprehensive platform that is designed to support all families, including children in non-public and charter school settings, as they navigate the IEP process. It offers a lot of features that we hope will make the journey smoother and more transparent for families, such as the ability to submit referrals for children who are not yet enrolled in school, which is very helpful for both children in preschool or families that have moved recently. They don't have to wait to enroll to get the ball rolling on their referral, as well as access to real-time updates on IEP progress. And then just like small tools that make life easier, like being able to sign forms digitally without having to print them. So those are a few of the things that we're excited about in Parent Portal. And then a couple of the key features that we really think about when we think about how families will be served with Parent Portal. Families will be able to submit referrals for special education electronically. They'll be able to schedule evaluations through the portal. They'll be able to sign forms digitally. They'll be able to track progress through the CPSE process in real time without having to request documents. So they'll see exactly where their child is in the process of getting evaluated, having their IEP developed, et cetera. And then something we've gotten really good feedback on, I think, from you all last time we talked through this was the Parent Portal will also create a digital case file for families. There are so many documents that come with special education and the development of an IEP, and those will all live in one place. And so families will be able to see, and this is true both for the family-facing portion and the staff-facing portion, all of a child's documents related to the special education process will be organized by year and by type, and they'll all be in there and ready to access, which is exciting, and we think will really just ease the burden of keeping all that stuff organized for families. And then a few ways that we expect the family experience to differ from current state in the future once Parent Portal is implemented. As I mentioned, it's integrated within NICSA to be a one-stop shop for families' needs with regard to special education. I will skip some of these bullets that I've already talked through, but the ability to download students' documents, to see previous versions of documents, like a past year IEP, download that information, et cetera. Initiating referrals, selecting the evaluator they want to work with, consent, et cetera. And then also requesting updates to provider assignments, things like that. Just a lot of ways that we hope this will make processes smoother for families. And then I will move into just kind of a couple takeaways and then how we hope you all might engage with us as we move towards that phase of the work. As I previewed in the early slides, we expect Parent Portal to be released at sometime in 2027. I know that's a while from now. I believe you all serve 2-year terms, so I'm glad you'll be around then. And we're excited to collaborate with you on this. And we really hope to be empowering families with information to champion their students, to be providing holistic information on every student's journey, to be enhancing accountability and better ensuring service delivery to children. And then also providing system-wide data that can generate reports for us centrally to be able to improve our service delivery. As we think about family engagement, some of what we've begun to brainstorm, even though this is still a ways out, is listed on the slide. So we want to make sure we're getting the word out to people in every way that people receive information. We think a text campaign would be very helpful, one-pagers that explain the new NICSA functionality to families, also one-pagers on what this means for families transitioning from early intervention, for example. There will be web-based information and training available. We plan to present at the Beyond Access series and any other big events, really, where we would be reaching the families who will be ultimately the users of this product. And then we also know it'll be really important to collaborate with all of the settings where children are served. And so a couple of the preschool settings are listed here because we were really thinking about them early on in our planning, which is 4410s, community-based early childcare programs, in addition to, district schools. And so this will include all kinds of non-pub settings, et cetera, wanting to make sure that the staff in all the settings where children are served know about these tools that will be available to families. So that's it for my slides. I will go ahead, and I've not been keeping an eye on the chat as I read through my deck, but I will go ahead and launch into some of the questions that you all already shared, and then I will take a look at the chat. So some of the questions that we got in advance. One of the questions asked about how will school-based staff be able to see students' files within Atlas? And then I think part of that question was also, what are the training resources that will be available to staff? So staff who are based in schools and support children with IEPs will have access to Atlas. This is true now for school-based preschool staff, and they're able to see the student profiles of the students enrolled in their schools. And so the student profile is kind of the main hub to see a student's information in Atlas. Staff can access their documents, et cetera. So that's the key place where staff will go if they're supporting a student and they need to access their special education documents. To touch on training materials again. So for all staff who use Atlas now, we have training materials available on the website. We're also collaborating with the team that developed the training materials for CCSE. They've got a lot of institutional knowledge about how to reach staff and what sorts of materials are helpful. There are detailed guides for every module of Atlas that walk staff through how to move students through each phase of the special education process. The next question was, how long have staff been trained on how to use Atlas? So I can talk a little bit about what training looked for before the release one. And the amount of training staff receive will vary depending on what their role is. So for example, staff in our CPSEs are very intensive users of Atlas. They use the system from end to end. So those groups of staff had about 25 hours of live training with our Atlas training team, like working in our training environment and actually clicking through the system to get accustomed to it before Atlas launched. Then we have other groups like external evaluators who I had mentioned who use a more limited part of the system. And so they had a very specific set of training, a minimum of 2 hours before Atlas launched, where we taught them how to use the specific evaluation parts of the system that they needed to get comfortable with. We also have developed asynchronous training resources for users so that they can go back and look at those outside of the time when live training is happening. As we work towards R2, we will similarly be thinking about who are the different groups of people who are using this system. What have they been using before? What is going to be new and different for them in Atlas, and which are the parts of the system that they need to be trained on, and developing training plans for each of those groups catered to their specific needs. The question I got was when there is an error, such as an address or a phone number of a student, which department or personnel within the DOE will be able to fix it? And what differences or improvements were made to that kind of process in Atlas? So something that is exciting to me, this might sound very nerdy, but is that Atlas is connected to ATS, which is our system for managing student enrollment and student demographic information. And so with the release of Atlas, this has allowed groups of staff who are working with students in Atlas, so CSE chairs, clerical staff, and CPSE admins can edit student information like an address or a phone number in Atlas, and then it will flow to our other systems that manage student data like ATS. And so basically it has allowed groups of users who are working in special education who previously wouldn't be able to update that kind of thing in ATS to be able to update a student address when they see it's out of date, or they see that the phone number is missing, or it has a typo, and the information flows back and forth between the two systems. As of now, school-based staff will continue to use ATS as the system to update that sort of information. But we're certainly open to, who can do what in which system and thinking about what serves people most effectively. The next question I got was, will there be a more centralized access for attendance encounters for related services across education programs, public and non-public? Yes. So all encountering will be done in Atlas when Release 2 launches. And so one of the major advances of Atlas is that everyone's going to be using one system. So across all of our settings, across all of our age groups, all of that will be happening in Atlas. And then I have one more written question that I got from you all before. This one is about the development of IEPs. This will be a little nitty-gritty, but I'll go ahead and just dig into it. I don't know exactly who we've got in the room and who may or may not participate in the development of IEPs currently, or who may be familiar with CCSE and how this works in CCSE. So if I'm getting in the weeds for a second, bear with me. There are a few really important improvements in Atlas to how staff develop IEPs that will just improve their ability to do their work smoothly. So in Atlas, users can select the type of IEP that they are creating directly on the page where they're creating the IEP, which will dynamically adjust to display only the sections of the IEP that are relevant to that type of IEP. So it'll make it a lot faster for folks to get started on the type of IEP that they're doing and have the right information appearing there for them to fill in on the computer screen. Atlas also improves our staff's ability to collaborate on an IEP in real time. So currently in CCSE, if one person is working on an IEP, it is locked for editing by anyone else. And that's just not the most modern way of doing things. It's nice for us to all be able to collaborate on something in real time. So the way that Atlas works in IEP development is if I, for example, am working on one section of the IEP, that section will be locked while I'm working on it, but one of my colleagues can work on a different section, or several of my colleagues can work on different sections while I'm also in there. And each section we are individually working on will be locked for editing so that all the changes are saved. Atlas also has an automatic save feature, which just reduces the risk of lost work. The IEP section also makes it very clear to staff which portions of the IEP are complete and which aren't, which just really makes it easy to jump around, see what you need to work on still, and ensure that nothing is left incomplete. And then the final thing that I will note is that Atlas also allows users to tag colleagues within sections to flag items that need their attention, or required sections such as transition activities that automatically populate based on the student's age. So this helps to ensure compliance and ensure that folks know what they need to work on and are being pointed towards the right places. All right, that was it for the questions I received in advance, and I can go ahead and take a look at the chat.
Avery, I've been answering in the chat.
Thank you. Do you want to read some off?
Sure. So the first question that we received, they moved around a little bit. So the first question here in the chat is a question about sharing the slides for District 8 in the Bronx. I wasn't sure about distribution of slides, so I thought I'd leave that one to you.
I think that's no problem. We can share the slides. Yep.
Great. And then there was a question about the acronym for Atlas. We know we live in a depth of acronyms. It stands for Accessible Tool for Learning About Students. There was a question about whether the parent portal will be mobile friendly. Yes, Atlas and parent portal will be mobile friendly, and it will be WCAG compliant for accessibility. So it'll also be accessible. There was a question about busing and what information would be available regarding busing. Atlas is able to indicate whether a student has a busing mandate and then what those specifics are around that mandate. And then there's
Following up on that one, if there's particular information about busing that you all think would be really helpful, we'd love to hear that feedback and can bring it back to our team.
Absolutely. Specifically, I know there's definitely a lot around busing. The next question, where is the data housed in a cloud? That one is a good question. I'm going to defer that one to Vadim, who I think has joined us. It's a little bit technical for me. If you can hop in here.
Vadim, are you on the line?
I am. I was struggling to unmute. My apologies.
Oh. The question was, where is the data housed?
Yeah, so the application itself is an on-prem application within DOE's data centers. And so all of the data is housed on DOE hardware in DOE databases. It is not a cloud-specific system. There are integrations with certain cloud functionalities, but the data itself is within the DOE.
Great. The next question was, can parents access services rendered in real time with backlog of all services? So that would be encountering information. I think encountering information is the encountering information in Nixa. I don't want to make promises, so I'm not 100% sure what level of information regarding encounters will be available in real time. I know the information that will be provided are the mandates, and I think whether or not providers have been assigned to those mandates, but the real-time availability of encounters is something we would need to look into further with the name of provider and location. Thanks. Okay, we can look into that. And then it would be helpful to keep a time record of drop-off and pickup times for busing. That way parents can see whether lateness is due to busing issues. Yeah, that absolutely makes sense. We can definitely take that back as well on busing.
Yeah, good feedback. Thank you, Anna.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for that. We do have some questions in this room. Heather, you want to kick off the questions, please?
Yeah, my question, I had two questions, but they're kind of related. So the first question that came up for me was, and I guess it's related to parents being able to upload documentation to Atlas. So like if they get a report from a doctor or something they want to update or they want to upload to provide for IEP, are they going to have that functionality? And related to that is when students have to submit health forms for accommodations on busing, like limited time travel, and things like that. Is that something that they can upload into Atlas and can be picked up by the Office of Student Health? Because I know there's oftentimes very challenging with the communication between the Office of Student Health and the busing and OPT and the different accommodations that are required for a doctor to sign to get those forms completed and approved.
So for the first part of the question, the ability for families to upload documents through the parent portal, yes, families will be able to do that. For the second part of your question, I don't think I have an answer to that on the spot. I suspect, Vadim, you likely do not as well. So that's a good question, and we will come back to you on that.
I do know that the parents are able to upload information like doctor's notes. They're able to upload evaluation information. I think specifically around the nursing piece of it, though, you're right, Avery. I think we can come back to that one. But they're absolutely able to upload information that can be then used by the CSEs or school teams, etc.
Thank you. Any other questions in this room? Okay. Kim, you have a question? Kim?
Yeah, I had a couple of things just in the chat. I wanted to say thank you so much for taking a very thoughtful approach as a person. I've worked on very complex software deployments, and I know it's not easy. The change management is really, really challenging to get people used to using a new system, and just change is so difficult. So I appreciate that you're taking the feedback and taking the time that you need rather than trying to cram the system in to meet a deadline and not being afraid to extend deadlines when you need to. So thank you for doing that, because it's better to have a product that people are excited to use rather than something that everybody hates using. So thank you. Because I don't think we say that enough. Because everybody's like, oh, you're moving the deadline and it sounds horrible. But no, it's actually not a bad thing. So I just wanted to put that out there. The other piece I just wanted to say is you had mentioned for families if there's information that they would actually like to see in relation to busing, how would you like that information to be funneled back to you? Because I'm sure people beyond here may be interested. So I don't know if there's a mechanism or a way for that type of feedback to get to you as you're starting to gather all of those requirements and feedback. So that was it.
Thank you, Kim. Johanna, I'm not sure if there's a way that this group is most accustomed to sharing, feedback and input. Any kind of written document, I think would do just fine for us, whether it's like a Word doc or something like that. But if there's something that typically works for this group, we'll take it.
Hey, Avery, this is Suzanne Sanchez. Yes, we will make sure that there's a way that this group, CCSE members and those on the Zoom can share written feedback. We'll get something out to everybody to make sure that they can do that. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other questions? If you have a question, please raise your virtual hand or real hand. All right, Joanne, go ahead, please.
I have one thing. You said in the very beginning that Atlas would be available for DOE and charter. What about parochial students?
Yes, yeah. Parochial students, non-public school students. It will be so the parochial students would be managed through the CSE, and so the CSE would be using Atlas, but there are some functions of Atlas that will be available to those schools as well.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Heather, go ahead.
This one just popped in my head. For students who are older, like older middle school and high school, will they have access to their Atlas account?
No, but there are ways to include those students' emails in some information. So, like IEP meeting invites, they are able to be sent to those students' emails, but they don't have access to Atlas.
Yeah, in general, it's not a student-facing tool.
Other questions, comments? All right, I've got a few, so my apologies. First of all, thank you for this update. We've had a couple of good meetings over the years now, and I think this was just excellent. A lot of good stuff in here, a lot of progress. I know we had a date we originally were trying to roll out to K to 12. But I'll echo Kim. It's great that you paused and made the changes. 100 enhancements is a big deal, and getting it right is the most important thing because this data is so critical. This is the most sensitive data that the students got, and to have it protected and to ensure it's protected, having it on DOE systems and not on external servers is critical. I thank you for that. That is a big deal. With all the times that we've gotten notice about breaks in data and our data being compromised, knowing it's on the DOE systems and DIIT is in charge of that makes me feel a heck of a lot better. So thank you, DIIT, and all the cybersecurity within the DIIT team and all the team members for doing that. That's a huge deal. Couple of things I wanted to comment also on. When we get to the engagement portion for families, one of the key things is going to be that chancellor message going out. He does the weekly message. We need to see what we can do to get that as one of the messages. It's really an important piece because that does go out to every family. And even if you don't have a kid with an IEP, it's important for families to know. I think, would also be really helpful is, the rollout I think makes a lot of sense. 26, you roll out to schools. You're talking 1,500 plus schools because now you're talking private schools, charter schools. The list is huge. It's well over 1,500 schools. So you're going to need a big help desk team. You're going to have to ramp it up. There's no doubt about that because pre-K is great, but it's a small subset, as you know. And when you go to the big schools, you're going to need a lot bigger team. And then when you roll out to 27 with the families, you're going to need that big team still. You might get a little bit of a quick dip, but you're going to need them right again because the one challenge is a family cannot be asked to go to the school for help. We've seen it again and again and again. DIIT says, go talk to your school. The school doesn't know. And that's why we go to DIIT. We don't even go to the DIIT unless the school wasn't able to help us initially, because that's always our contact point is the schools. We need to make sure there is a family-facing help desk for this transition. It's got to be a DIIT or someone that's not at school level that can bring that enhanced help when it's necessary. So I just wanted to make that and put that out there. But I think, the plan makes a lot of sense. It's sound, and look, it's, we know we need to get the data out there, but you got to get it right. And I think that's critical. I want to highlight a couple of things that we brought up last time we met. We did talk about that engagement log being visible for families. I will reiterate how critical that is. I know we got almost 2 years to work on that and figure it out, but it's something that's really important for families to be able to see. And it doesn't, it's not really real time, but it's close enough. Once that encounter is logged or that encounter is not logged or, whatever, it's got to be visible and it can't just be the last one. We need, just like we're going to have records by year, we need to be able to see encounters by provider by year. So we can see the OT, the speech, para, whatever it is, whatever engagement a student has with an adult, it's got to be visible somewhere. If it's logged, it should be available for the family to see. I think, another thing we talked about is having some type of additional communication portal option with the family. If they have a request, they can go not just sending an email to a school because things happen with emails, but that email that can be sent through the new Atlas system and hit the appropriate person in the school. That way there's that log of the engagement because we still hear time and time again, I didn't receive that email. I didn't hear that. I didn't get that message. That record, the timestamp is so critical for the protection of the DOE and for the family and for the student, right? It protects everybody when there is that one system and we're not relying on, a DOE email system, except when the school has their own email system and they ignore the DOE system because that was supposed to be canceled, but it never happened, right? And so there's still a lot of schools that have their own email systems and magically things don't happen as they should. And so having that email within the Atlas system, I think, is really important, and I will bring those two issues back to the front burner because I think they're really critical for our students. But wrapping my comments up, thank you. This is a big step forward. It's a big step up for students. It's a big step up for families, and it's a huge step for the DOE. At, like you said, getting rid of the 1970 legacy systems and the patchwork of everything and getting to one sound system that's home, for the most part, home built. That is a big deal, and certainly home housed, and having it with you guys is great. So I'd like to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Appreciate it.
Thank you all. It's so nice being here today, and it's really nice to speak with you. We spend a lot of times looking at our computer screens and thinking about building this. And it feels really nice to directly bring home the impact and talk to you all about it. So thank you.
Got
Absolutely.
two quick
Ditto
things.
that.
Sorry. Maggie's got something, and then Chief Sanchez wants to speak. But thank you.
Thank you so much for this presentation. A couple of things, I don't know if you guys were able to get to this. I wanted to ask if when it comes to internal errors within a student's profile, either the address or any personal information, who once there's within Atlas, who is in charge of fixing that? And what are the differences and improvements with that? Because with CSIS, it's been hard to do those changes. And also, will there be a more centralized access for attendance encounters for related services across education programs, so public and non-public?
Yes, thank you for those questions. So around editing student information, like an address or a phone number, so the staff who will have the ability to edit that information in Atlas will be CSE chair people, CSE clerical and family workers, and then in the preschool world, CPSE admins as well. So those folks will be able to update student information directly in Atlas, and then the data will flow into our other systems to reflect those updates across our connected systems.
I wanted to add to that, Avery. That's an improvement from current state, because right now you have to go into ATS and ATS sends that information to all the other systems. And now rather than having to go to a different system, they can update that information in Atlas.
Yes, and those staff who have the access to update it in Atlas are not staff who had access to make those updates in ATS previously. And the second question, I believe, was around encountering. And so all encountering will be logged in Atlas. So there will be one system for all students, for all settings, and that will all be in Atlas.
Thank you. Chief Sanchez?
Thank you so much, Avery. I'm off to the side a little bit today, so you probably can't see me, but want to thank you for such an informative presentation. I think something that makes the CCSE a bit unique is that fortunately there are representatives whose children go attend school in New York City in a variety of different settings. And I think, I know for me, and see the faces of the members here, having one system where regardless of the type of setting a student is enrolled in to collect this vital special education information certainly feels like a game changer across the board. And so just want to thank Shaquille, yourself, Vadim, the entire team there for all the work around integrating these multiple systems so that families and schools can have information in one place. And I think that's one of the most exciting things about Atlas. For many years, we've rightly so been asked about encounter attendance on services for students in other than public school settings. So this is going to bring that together. And there is one point that I did want to just reference around related service encounter attendance, that information, what is currently available in NICSA and ultimately what will be available in Atlas is predicated on what the related service provider enters into the system of record and when they make that entry. And so I just want to make sure that we all remember that the folks providing the service enter their session notes. And once they're entered is when we all have access to that information. So, but by and large, this is really a really strong and impactful and informative presentation. I want to thank Avery, you and the entire DII team for your time tonight.
Our pleasure, and a huge thank you to my compatriots, Anna and Vadim as well. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you again, DIIT. Really appreciate it. Keep up the great stuff you do. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Too. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Great. Thank you, everybody. And then appreciate again, DIIT. Chief Sanchez, do you have any updates, any notes for tonight?
Thank you so much. I would just like to remind, if folks aren't aware, we're having a Beyond Access session on February 24th for transitions, which is really exciting. Also my birthday. So I will look forward to joining virtually there. And that's going to be a parent's guide to understanding transition planning. So really important. Some of you, many of you were able to join the Transition Summit that was held at John Jay University from CUNY in the fall. And we will be hosting a similar, slightly different, but a similar concept of transition planning consultants with experts in April. And we will be sharing that information with you all as soon as it's all finalized. So very much looking forward to that. Chancellor Kumar Samuels is hosting his listening tour. And that information can be found on the New York City Public Schools website. Johanna is going to drop it in the chat. And as always, would love to see any of you out there at those meetings to participate in some really important and informative community engagement work. For those of you whose children have off next week, we hope it's going to be a great week for everybody and that folks are able to get some rest. Although I don't know how much so when the kids are home. But we just want to continue to thank the city this group here for their support and advocacy on all things special education in New York City. Thank you, Mark and Maggie, so much.
Thank you, Chief Sanchez. Thank you, Johanna. Appreciate it. All right, we are actually ahead of time for once. This is a nice break, and we were able to function and get everything done in time. So thank you, everybody. All right, next agenda item. We have a D75 opening that has been open now for over 3 months. FACE has not received any new applications, so we have one applicant, Cindy, who has applied. We did table a vote last month. I want to see if there is a motion to vote on the only candidate that is currently an active candidate.
I make a motion for us to vote for the CCSE D75 candidate.
Okay, there is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. So first, do we have any discussion we want to have regarding the candidate, or do we want to move straight to a vote? Can you reset the timer? I'm sorry. So we have 15 minutes slated for this. So is there a second? I'm sorry. There's a second? Okay, Ron, thank you. Okay, so motion a second. So is there a discussion we want to have, or do we want to go straight to a vote? I hear discussions, multiple discussions. All right, who wants the floor? Okay, Francesca, go ahead.
I just have a question because I'm looking at the attendance and there's only 7 people present. And I know the last time we were talking about virtual people cannot vote. So how is that going to go when?
Virtual people are allowed to vote. That is in new rules. So as long as, yes. And we have quorum in person, so Irene is fully eligible to vote. Yeah, go ahead, Susan.
Just want to make sure you're. One thing that I do want to state, because I know that Cindy, we have interviewed twice as a CCSE, having interviewed her in October for a position, and she applied again for a second position for D75. The first one was high school. And we interviewed her twice. However, we did not seem to come to a full, I guess we weren't all in unison. One thing that I do want to state is when we did interview her last month, the question was posed for council members to ask additional questions if they felt necessary. And at that point, we kind of lost focus as to the vote and and taking into consideration, I guess, that even council members, not everyone was, I guess, fully present, listening in to everything that she had to say as a candidate. So I think that it's important that we make it fair for people, especially when you have someone that has applied more than once, and also someone that I have witnessed attending quite a few CCSE subcommittee meetings. It just shows persistence, dedication, and we've also seen Cindy, the candidate, also attend quite a few meetings via Zoom for citywide council special education. So I just want to make mention of that. And reviewing the resume, it is a dedicated parent that's more than qualified to be a part of the citywide council special education.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All right, we're ready to move to vote? Okay, Rose, can we please have roll call vote? This is the D75 open seat.
We are voting to fill the D75 seat. Francesca,
Oh, I'm picking, or I'm saying present. Say yes or no. Sorry, can I pass for now?
Yes, pass, go ahead.
Joanne Collins,
Yes.
Heather Daly,
Yes.
Mark Gonzalez,
Yes.
Yes.
Maggie Sanchez,
Yes.
Susie Wong,
Yes.
Irene,
Yes.
coming back around to Francesca,
Abstain.
and again, Dr. Sanai is not present. We have 7 yeses.
7. So Cindy, congratulations. We look forward to seeing you at our March the 26th, our March 26th council meeting.
Congratulations.
Yes, Cynthia's online.
Thank you. Thank you
Wow,
everyone for your support.
congratulations.
Thank you very much. I will try my best to do my work. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy, and congratulations. We look again forward to seeing you on the 26th of March. Thank you. And we'll be in touch. Thank you. All right.
Mark, do you want to just mention that she should be in person?
For future meetings, yeah. Yeah. All right, next topic is resolutions. Resolutions. So there are 2 resolutions that the council and the public were emailed. So the first one we'll start with, which is New York State funding. So this is a resolution that we actually tabled at our last meeting due to time constraints. It is certainly very pertinent with the budget negotiations that are in full swing. Yesterday was Tin Cup Wednesday. The mayor was up there, and nearly every other group interested in anything to do with state budget was in Albany. lobbying for whatever cause they had. This resolution was worked through the legislative committee. We had multiple members involved in the writing and editing. But want to see if there's a motion to discuss or if there's a motion to vote. Both are options, but we need a motion and need to see if there's anyone who wants to be a co-signee on the resolution for state of New York. So if you need time to reread it, that is fine, but otherwise we need a motion to move forward. We went over it last a bit.
So can I motion for us to vote?
Yes,
Yeah,
you
motion
can.
for us to vote.
So before that, though, we have to open up the public comment before we can actually vote. So, okay. So if we could hold off on that motion to vote, because we would have to open it to public comment first.
Can I make a motion to discuss?
Yes, motion discuss. Okay, is there a second to discuss?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Motion and discuss. Okay, so discussing the resolution,
I
Heather?
just want to know who the co-sponsors are, because there's no sponsors on the bill.
Well, that's what we need to see. Is there anyone who wants to co-sponsor it? The legislative committee worked on this. So people who were a part of this, Ron was in the meeting, Maggie was in the meeting, I was in the meeting. But I want to see if there's any co-sponsors, because to Heather's point, we need 3 co-sponsors before we can vote. So that's
I can
per our bylaws.
co-sponsor.
What's that, Heather?
I can co-sponsor.
Oh, Maggie?
I'm happy to, even though I didn't help write it.
Heather, you actually were involved in writing it because you've been talking every meeting about needs that we have, and we try to incorporate the feedback from the council.
I'm fine co-sponsoring.
Rose, sorry.
Which resolution are you talking about?
This is a state of New York one. State of New York one. It's titled Resolution on State Law Changes to Foundation Aid, Increasing Funding for Students with Disabilities, Ending New York City Charter School Rent Payments, and Providing Transition Aid to New York City.
And me too. I'm really happy to co-sponsor.
Thank you. Any other co-sponsors? Okay. Any other discussion with council members? Anything you see you want to look at amending on this resolution?
Just a small correction for just the format on the second page.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to keep it
Which
that way.
paragraph?
Therefore, the second line, therefore be it resolved. I don't know if you want to, if that's a big deal, or we could just keep it that way. I don't know. It's a small it's lowercase.
Oh, it's a
Be it
formatting.
Yeah, just the format.
Oh, okay. Uppercase versus lowercase. So that doesn't need
Okay.
that doesn't need to be a amendment. That's just a formatting. But
Yeah, that's it.
all right. If there's no other comments in here, we'll open up to public comment. So for the public, we did email it out to our distribution list Monday, Friday. I can't remember which Monday I think it was, or Friday. Any feedback? If you have any feedback, please raise your virtual hand. Okay,
Just so you know, it was emailed out on Monday.
thank you, Francesca. Get the dates messed up all the time. And thank you for setting me straight. All right, is there a motion if we're going to close discussion, or is there a motion to vote on the resolution as presented?
There's no public comment, correct?
No public comment. Is there a motion to
I
vote?
make a motion to vote on the res.
Okay, we have a motion to vote on the resolution. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, thank you, Heather. Thank you, Francesca. All right, Rose, can we have a roll call vote, please?
We are voting on the resolution on state law changes to foundation aid, increasing funding for students with disabilities, ending New York City charter school rent payments, and providing transition aid to New York City. Francesca?
Yes.
Dr. Sanai is not in. Joanne Cumming? Heather Daly,
Yes.
Laura Gonzalez,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Maggie,
Yes.
Susie,
Yes.
Irene,
Yes.
come back around to Joanne.
Joanne, yes, no, abstain?
I'm a abstain.
Okay. That's 7 yeses, 1 abstention, no nos. Okay, thank you. That one passes. All right, the second resolution we have is titled Resolution on Fixing the New York City Department of Education Budget for Students with Disabilities and All Students. This one was also worked on with the Legislative Committee over months and many meetings with some significant adjustments as we got feedback during the committee meetings from public and from council members. So is there a motion to discuss this resolution? If there's no motion to discuss, then we'll have to move on to the next topic. So is there a motion to discuss?
I make a motion to discuss.
Okay, Francesca's got a motion to discuss. Is there a second to discuss this resolution?
Second. I second.
Okay, anyone want to co-sign, co-sponsor this resolution? Any co-sponsors?
I would like to co-sponsor.
I'll sponsor.
I wanted to co-sponsor.
Irene, it was Irene. So Francesca,
I wanted to.
I'm sorry, Francesca, Irene, I'm sorry. Yeah, we got you,
I wanted
Irene.
to co-sponsor.
Thank you. Yeah, all right, so I have Francesca, Maggie, Irene. Any other co-sponsors?
Oh, wasn't me.
Ron? Okay, thank you. Okay, anyone want to discuss the resolution?
I have a question.
Yeah, Joanne, go ahead.
This resolution is like, it's hitting a lot of different things. I'm just trying to understand the main focus. I understand it's for the education budget for students with disability. We hitting sets, services, and then we're also talking about summarizing and Saturday Academy, the sensory program, Discovery Seed, and several other things. So, and pre-K and a lot of things, travel training and other things. So we just trying to understand where all this is coming into play. Like, are students not getting none of these services? And this is why we're doing this?
So here's the challenge for summarizing. It's not baselined, meaning we have a grant money for some of it, but we still need to get money or it will not happen. So seed needs baseline money because it's not baselined. And what baselining means is basically it's built in the budget every year. So you have to go if it's baseline, you don't effectively have to ask for it every year from city council and the mayor. It's built into the system. If it's not, like seed's not in the system, you got to ask for it or you may not get it. And so the issue is, yeah, a lot of these are not baselined yet. And we certainly need to make sure we get the funding first, and ideally you'd baseline it second. But at a minimum, we want to make sure that we get the Saturday Academy, the summer rising, the after-school programs, the seed programs, the travel training. These are all critical. Sorry.
Saturday Academy has been a continuous thing I have seen on a regular, so I'm like a little confused with like.
There's no budget next year unless we ask for it. It's not baselined in the budget. So if you don't ask for it, there is a risk of it not getting funded. So the challenge that we have is we need to continue pushing for programs that make a difference. And Saturday Academy, Summer Rising, After School, Seed, these are all programs that have shown to be effective for students. And we want to make sure they are in the budget and not excluded from the budget. The mayor is saying he's got a $7 billion budget gap. Things can get cut if they're not baselined.
Right. All right, I just want to make sure, because I just see so many different things that
Yep.
I'm just trying to see where we are. And there's so many different things, like, like travel training, stuff like that, because some of this stuff I see on here, but there's some of this stuff I don't see it being utilized on a continuous basis neither. And the numbers, the utilization numbers are kind of low as well. And that's the other thing. So that's on the flip side. So that's what I'm trying to find out. Like, are we surveying some of this stuff to see how is it being utilized? Because that may be another reason why certain things are being not funded.
Well, seed program, there's a demand. There are more schools that are asking for seed money to open new schools. Summer Rising is had demand. Now, there's certainly an issue with some schools have had excess seats. There's plenty of schools that have had nowhere near enough seats.
Only begging for it. No, trust me, I know that. I'm just saying.
Saturday Academy, they are lacking enough providers to offer services. So there is certainly a massive need for, and it's not, Saturday Academy was the original. I apologize. They're calling it Weekend and Weekday Academy now because it is literally 7 days a week that they offer services to students who need the support, needs the compensatory services because they did not get the services they were entitled to. And so there is certainly a need. So, Heather?
And also the Saturday Academy is only at specific school sites. I think in Queens, there's only 2 schools that have it. And so when you're looking at accessibility for families across the district, it'd be good if they could offer it at more schools so that people can access it easier.
Now we're talking about Saturday Academy for which students? That's only like at 2 schools in
Well, it depends on the borough. I mean, like Manhattan has 2 schools. There was one.
Like for certain, like descending for a certain classification we're talking about?
No, it's students who need compensatory services because they did not receive services that they were entitled to by law. So let's say 11,000 people, 11,000 students last year didn't get services, right? They didn't have a sign to provide. Those are some of the students that would go to Weekend and Weekday Academy.
Yeah.
So and to Heather's point, there's a very limited number of sites. So it is a trek to get to some of these. Staten Island's got one, Queens, I think only has one, and it's a trek.
And it's not right off the train line, like it's a far walk.
That's weird because I know several schools that offers it. That's what I'm saying in Queens. And they're paying for it because I had.
Well, so you're talking about something else, and because there's some schools that have their own Saturday school, but that's not Saturday or Weekend Academy. Weekend Academy is specifically done through this building for students who need compensatory services because they did not get the services they were entitled to. There are plenty of schools that offer Saturday school, but that's yeah.
Talking about the same exact thing.
Okay.
Because it's on
I just want to
IP and everything. I'm talking about the same exact thing you're talking about. And she has gotten it on Saturday and stuff like that and broken up. That's what I'm just saying. Some schools are doing it and they are utilizing it. That's what I'm saying. I'm talking about the same exact thing you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well,
I've seen it as more. That's why I was just asking when you said only certain ones like that. But
I believe there's 7 total, either 6 or 7 total schools in the 5 boroughs combined.
some of these the principals in them are hiring their own staff and only utilizing their staff for only their students and allowing only their students to utilize it for composite
And that's
services.
a different program.
That
Yeah.
story that,
Yeah.
but you have some, but they utilize it for that reason, composite services. You understand? But that's the same thing.
I would like to make a motion to extend this part of the agenda by 5 minutes so that we have time to continue discussion and hopefully pass the resolution.
Okay. So there's a motion to extend discussion by 5 minutes. Is there a second? We may not need the whole time.
Second.
Okay. All in favor of extending time by 5 minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Sorry. Opposed? Abstain? Okay. 5 more minutes. Francesca, can you toss on another 5? Should be 9 minutes. Yep. Yep. Mike, sorry.
Makes sense, but I just know I see other schools that was offering that same services as well. So that's why I was just asking that. So when you said it was only like 1 or 2, that threw a red flag up in my head and saying, no, I have seen other schools that has been offering it as well. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Maggie, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say what kind of Heather was pointing at was there's also assistive tech at the Weekend Academy. So for those that have assistive technology services in their IEPs, they can if they receive a letter for the program, they can go into Weekend Academy to get more training on their assistive tech for the parents and the students that can come.
Heather?
Thank you for that information.
Oh,
'cause as a parent-
Francesca, one sec. Heather was next.
Oh, it's fine.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
I
All
would
right.
say thank you, Maggie, for explaining that, because I'm a parent who's going to be experiencing assistant technology for my child. And it's good to know because my school didn't tell me that there's extra places that I can get assistance from.
You gotta talk to me. I give you all the, what you gotta do.
Okay, Heather, please.
I wanted to ask if, on the second to last, be it further resolved on page 2, where it says must open dyslexia and print-based learning centers in every district. I don't know if we can put a footnote and define what we mean by learning centers versus programs, because right now we have dyslexia schools, and we know as a council that there are thousands of kids who can't get into that school that need more dyslexia and print-based disability specific intervention. And I also want to be careful about, and this is just my opinion, I think I want to make sure that we're being careful about supporting programs and things that will further segregate our students out of the community schools. Because a lot of these interventions need to be available in our community schools instead of constantly creating these segregated programs that keep disabled kids away from their peers.
So we can have an amendment if you want to amend that line. You certainly can do that if you have a proposal with language. If you want to rename learning centers as programs, we could certainly do that.
No, I don't think that's better, actually. I think
Okay.
it's worse. Yeah.
So if you want to think about that, we'll come back to you. Maggie?
So, I don't know how to phrase this eloquently, but so when it comes to inclusion and just students that may need more support or a different, kind of environment where it may not be appropriate for them to be in a noisy environment or or they may need much more support than what the community schools offer, or a more specialized program, or just a smaller environment. I just want to be conscious of those students, and I understand the push for inclusion. And I completely agree with that. And in the same token, there are students that do that the appropriate environment for them because of their higher support needs are, unfortunately more and unfortunately it is it is a segregated environment, if you will. It's not inclusive fully how we think of inclusion. But I think that there are different ways of receiving inclusion. And so I don't know how to phrase this in a better way, but I think that, um, yeah, like to your point, Heather, like there are students that we have to keep in mind all those students as well. So I I'm not sure about the phrasing, but I think that it is important to keep it the point how it is for now, at least.
So, Francesca?
I just wanted to talk about that dyslexia part that Heather, and I think Maggie's talking about. Is there any way that we can say where the special education teachers get a crash course or an educational course on how to deal with dyslexia and how to see it in the classroom? Because I know a teacher who did it over the summertime, and she went to one of those dyslexia school. It was intense, but it's an eye opener for her. And I was just wondering, is that a way of us doing it so that we're not isolating our children?
You gotta use the mic. You gotta use the mic. You're recognizable, but use the mic.
So once they open the literacy center, as they call it, it's a special training that everyone in the school gets. So that's why they're saying that's the holdup, and it costs a lot of money. Because it's similar to the C schools, the NEST program, because everybody has to get trained appropriately and so on. That's what is the delay. But you do have a good idea, but that's the holdup.
So one of the challenges with students with print-based disabilities is it can't be a class a day and they're done, right? It has to be something that's integrated within the entire school day. So when they've got math, the lessons need to be continuous with how a student with dyslexia can read those word problems. When they're in science, that reading, they've got to be able to have that same methodology throughout that day. ELA, obviously. And it goes on and on and on when you're in a social studies class, even if you're in a health class or whatever the other classes are, it has to be integrated. And that is different than a typical school where you get a session of speech, or you get maybe your ELA teacher is trained for that, but you don't typically have every teacher in the school trained. And as Joanne was calling out, it's like the NEST program where teachers go through this intensive training, and it can't just be the ELA teacher or the speech teacher. It has to be every teacher in that school that touches the student, because it doesn't end after ELA. It goes through every other class. And that's the big difference. As I'm understanding it from talking to all these families and parents and professionals. So, Heather?
And I see the point for that. And I guess I just want to make I guess 2 points. I feel like the public schools here are very quick to put together an amazing program, but then it segregates students out. And then once that happens, there's a lack of equity to access those programs. And I'll go back to the autism programs. If you look at the demographics of who is in the most restrictive autism programs and who is in the least restrictive autism programs, it's better than it was even in the time I've served. But the demographics look very different in those classrooms. And we all know that most restrictive environments are Black and brown kids, right? And so that's where I get concerned when we start talking about making sure there's a lot of funding for these specialized programs is because they're not equitably resourced. Their access isn't equitable. They often segregate students, and that's not to discount. Some students need a more restrictive environment and a different educational environment. I'm not saying they don't, that some kids need that, but most kids don't, and they get put in these very segregated programs. And that aren't equitably accessible to everybody who needs them. So I just want to be careful. And I also just want to the point that Joanne was making, I do think we could include a be it further resolved that the teachers that are providing these interventions, the ICT teacher, the interventionist, the SETS teachers are funded for professional development and training in these so that you can have a kid in a integrated classroom who is getting dyslexic supports in science, who's getting dyslexic supports in math because the ICT teacher in that classroom has been trained.
So I want to clear up one thing. This type of program is not a more restrictive or a less restrictive. It has nothing to do with class size or teacher-student ratios. It's about having schools that have the professionals trained throughout the school how to work with kids with print-based disabilities. It has nothing to do with restrictiveness. They would be in a whatever classroom their current IEP is. It is just with schools. Well, you think about like the
Is the learning center, you're saying schools, like they generate more of these newer schools for dyslexia?
It could be schools, it could be a school that has a class in every grade that focuses on that. It could be a school like Bronx Literacy Academy or Brooklyn Literacy Academy. I don't want to make a judgment on what the type of center would be, but certainly we need to have people trained because right now we've got kids who are graduating that can't read because they're not getting a service at all. I have worked with so many families with dyslexia that aren't getting the support in school. They're struggling. These are mostly older kids. It's the 12 to 14-year-olds that I'm seeing the majority of cases because the younger kids just aren't being identified quickly enough. And, I will say one thing, can we please keep the talking down for a moment? When we look at, Heather, your call out is right about the demographics of the ASD. And I think what we saw is when the DOE opened these new 3 districts for ASD, where they said every kindergartner that is eligible will have a seat and we guarantee a seat. Those are where you saw the ratios make sense in terms of the demographics, right? Because you're taking care of every kid that needed it. And that's effectively what we want to try to do here with the ASD is open up for all 32 districts and the same for print-based disabilities. Open it up so every kid who needs it is going to get that intensive service so they can be moved out. I mean, the goal is to move them out of an intensive, and again, not less restrictive or more restrictive, but intensive focus on dyslexia or other print-based disabilities, because at some point you want that student to be able to read as typical as they would be able to. And the idea is, yeah, if a student needs that teacher who specializes in print-based disability in kindergarten or in 4th grade, hopefully by that 5th grade or 1st grade, they're able to transition out of that type of classroom. It may just be a classroom. I don't want to make that decision because that's not my skill set, and I don't think that's any of our skill sets of deciding what a program or a center looks like. But we certainly know there is a gap. We need the motion if we want to have a further
Yeah.
discussion. I apologize.
I was about to say, does anybody want a motion to add some more time?
We are actually really right now, right about on time. Looking at where we're at, we were supposed to end at about 8:10. Okay, so if you've got language you'd like to propose, please.
We're out of time, so. No.
We can motion for more time. 10 minutes, I mean,
It
whatever.
could be 1 minute, 2 minute, just not an
Why don't
hour.
we put 5 minutes, if we could motion for 5 minutes for now, if we don't use all that time, great. We have to motion or table.
You can.
Okay, I motion to have 5 more minutes for the topic.
Okay, is there a second?
second.
Okay, all in favor, 5 more minutes?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. All right, 5 more minutes. Hopefully we can wrap it up. Heather, you'd mentioned,
Know what the language would look like. And I underlined it. Learning center to me seems like a very specific kind of thing. Like
so
an early learning center. It's a building you go to and you do learning. Like, I guess if it's learning center is meant to be something they set up in the library once a week. Is it an actual school program that's separate from a community school? Is it an ICT classroom? And it's specific and very vague at the same time, and it can be misconstrued. And I just think it needs a definition of what we mean when we say learning center. And maybe learning center is not the right word.
Okay.
Maybe it needs to be programmed or something like that. But learning center to me feels like a very specific place or type of place that can be defined in a lot of different ways by a lot of different people.
Francesca, and then I have a comment on that, but Francesca.
I feel what you're saying about learning centers. I feel it should be like learning centers in schools, because my daughter does that and she gets pulled out about 3 to 4 times in a day for math or for reading, and she gets the help with the dyslexia method that a teacher she was educated on. So I would say centers within the school building, so kids are not being relocated to a different building, so it doesn't seem like they're being isolated. That's just an idea.
What if we rename centers systems? So systems is nebulous, I admit, but so if there's a motion to amend the line, we need a motion to amend. If we want to use systems or some other word.
I got the wording.
Do you
That-
want a motion? Amend?
Can we talk about the wording first and then make a motion to amend? Okay.
Yeah,
Be it further resolved that the New York City DOE must provide dyslexia and print-based learning program, or, see, now I lost it. That the DOE must provide every student identified or every student in need of dyslexia and print-based support with a learning system to address or something like that.
we need exact language. So you want to come back and word it? Okay, so write it down next time, please, and then we'll go forward. I understand, I hear you. So, all right, was there any other comments? Susie?
Should we revisit then? Should we, just to make sure that we are, dotting the i's and crossing the t's and making sure we feel confident about what's being put forward? Should we consider tabling it and just revisiting?
We have
Maggie?
one more.
Mike, if you're gonna talk, Mike.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Just, we still have some time, so let's give her a couple minutes.
You have 1
We-
minute and 13 seconds.
We agreed that systems would be better, so even if we just change that word.
Be it further resolved that NYC DOE must provide, instead of open, must provide dyslexia. Okay, go ahead, Heather.
Be it further resolved that the NYC DOE must fund learning systems to provide every student with dyslexia or a print-based disability with appropriate intervention in every district.
Can you read that one more time?
That the NYC DOE must fund learning systems to provide every student with dyslexia or a print-based disability with appropriate intervention in every district covering grades K through 12.
Okay. I have grabbed that from the transcript, and that did come in perfectly as you had said it. So the transcript's got it. I've got that noted. All right. Rose, did you have to say something? Were you going to say something? I'm sorry. Okay. We need one more motion for time because we have to open up public comment. Is there a motion for 5 minutes just in case there's any public comment? Okay. All right. So is there a motion for 5 more minutes? I think we can wrap it up. We need, let's just do 5 because we have public comment.
I make a motion to extend the time 5 more minutes.
Is there a second for 5 more minutes extension?
I second it.
Okay. In favor?
Aye.
Abstain? Oppose? Okay, 5 more minutes. Heather has one more be it resolved. You want me?
Be it further resolved that the NYC DOE must fund appropriate professional development and training for ICT teachers and interventionists in dyslexia and print-based disability interventions.
Can we leave off the ICT teachers and just have teachers and interventionists? Because so the text would be it further resolved that the NYC DOE must fund appropriate professional development and training for teachers and interventionists in dyslexia and print-based disability interventions. Okay. Those would be 2 amendments that we would have to do. So we need a motion for adding those 2 amendments to the text, and they would also then strike the one that is the second from the last on the be it further resolved that NYC DOE must open dyslexia. So we need a motion to amend.
To strike the last be it further resolved and replace it with the amended.
Amended.
With the. No, I got it. And replace it with the amended version and then add a further be it resolved about funding the interventionists.
Okay, so that's the motion to make the amendments. Is there a second for the motion? Is there a second on the motion?
I'll second the
Okay.
motion.
I think we had Irene and Francesco, the double. Thank you. All right, all in favor of those 2 amendments? Rose, we need to do a roll call for that.
Yes, we vote to amend
The resolution.
Francesca,
Yes.
Joanne Cummins,
No, I don't.
Yes.
Heather Daly,
Yes.
Mark Gonzalez.
Yes.
Yes.
Maggie,
Yes.
Susie,
I thought you did.
Okay, just come back to me for 1 second.
Irene,
Yes.
Susie,
I guess I just wanted to see the changes to review, but.
I can read it out loud for you.
Okay.
The-
No, you don't have to take more time.
Okay.
We'll receive it, right?
Yes, oh, of course.
Okay, yes.
Okay, thank you. All right. So I'd like to open it up for public comment. Is there any public comment on this resolution on city funding?
I still saw comments in the chat. I don't know.
I'm putting 5 minutes up for the public to
Oh.
ask questions.
Wait. All right, Kim, please, go ahead.
Yeah, so I am just in support of this resolution and want to say thank you for being so thoughtful about it. Part of it is because I do recognize that, especially with the dyslexia, having a child with dyslexia and ensuring that it is integrated throughout their entire day is really critical, because reading is not, or in any type of print-based learning disabilities are not just about one course or one class where you may have a push-in speech support or have to leave the classroom, which is very challenging, I think, for the child too. And also having the specialized autism programs is important as well, and making sure that it is accessible. I had a late diagnosed child, an autistic late diagnosed child, or I have, I should say, who's in high school or who's in college now. But at the time we were looking for a middle school seat, we were very interested in the ASD Nest program, and there were only 10 seats available at that time in the entire borough of Brooklyn. And so it was very disappointing that we weren't able to do that. So we had to find other practice or other paths for my child. And so I do believe that this is great to really encourage the New York City Council to include this in the budget and have fully funded for students with disabilities. So thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Any other public comment? Okay.
Sorry, Mike, I just saw
Maggie.
a question in the chat, just asking about Omni cards, if Omni cards are offered in the weekend academies.
Metro cards are offered still in Weekend Academy. Metro cards is a two trip that the student gets and a two trip that whichever adult brings the child or the student. So Kim, did you have something?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just one last comment. Mark, I want to say thank you for making sure that the amended funding for is more for teachers in general rather than focusing on ICT teachers. ICT teachers already have extra credentialing over the general ed teachers, so I do think it's more important to focus on teachers holistically rather than isolating the ICT teachers. And I think that's really important for all of us to understand that an ICT teacher has that additional credentialing, which also used to be required for any teacher who was doing a G&T classroom as well. So just know that that's very important. It's all about differentiated learning. And so if we can get other teachers into that training program, I think that's really great. So thank you.
Thank you. So, yeah, so Tam, you had a,
I see in the chat you're asking, did you want to make a public comment?
this is only about the resolution.
No, it was just about Atlas.
This is only about the resolution.
Gotcha, thanks.
Okay, thank you. All right, is there a motion to vote on this resolution?
Motion to vote on the new, on the whole amendment.
Okay, we have a motion to vote. Is there a second to vote?
I second to vote on the resolution with the amendments.
Okay, all in favor of voting on this resolution, please say aye. Abstain? No? Okay. All right, Rose, can we do roll call vote, please?
We are voting on the resolution as amended. Francesca?
Yes.
Joanne?
Yes.
Heather Daly?
Yes.
Mark Gonzalez?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Maggie?
Yes.
Susie?
Yes.
Irene?
Yes.
Okay, it passes with 8 votes. Thank you, everybody. All right, we are next at public comment. So this is general public comment, please. If you have a virtual hand, please raise it. If you're here, please raise your hand. We'll catch you.
Before we go to public comments, can I just be sponsored on the first bill?
Yes. Yes, we'll note you on that.
Heather would like to sponsor as well since she contributed.
On the state one or the city one?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Amanda, public comment, 3 minutes. Go ahead, please.
Yes, actually, it was just a question. I figure y'all would be the fastest to get it. Once the assistive technology device has come in for a student, how long does it take the training to get scheduled for that on average?
So when you get a device, you should receive at the same time a web link to sign up that has dates you choose from. So you should have received a web link that comes with the device.
So I was told I was not able to have access to the device until we get the training.
So there's multiple ways to get trained. You can certainly go to the school can do it. The CAT team in Queens can do it virtually. There is also Weekend Academy available sometimes for that training. So there's multiple ways to get the training. Amanda, if you're having a problem, if you want to just email our email inbox, and I'll put it at ccsc@schools.nyc.gov. I'll put it. We can certainly get whoever needs help connected with the CAT team in Queens because they are the ultimate controllers.
Okay.
It should be quick. This is not a weeks-long process. It may be a week or a week and a half to get training, but it's not like multiple weeks.
Okay. Thank you.
Tam?
Hi. Just speaking to that Atlas presentation tonight, and thank you for hosting that and for bringing in the Dial team. Not to, discourage the work of the Dial team or to say anything negative about what they're doing. I think it's great they took this on, but it's been years in the making. I was on the prior CCSE council when they first came in and started talking about it with us. And there was a huge push to make sure that they prioritized being able to track related services. The way the system, as you all know, right now in CSIS is set up, we can't. So what ends up happening is a related service provider can go in at any time, 3, 4, 5, 6 months later and backlog a bunch of services. It's then up to you to prove that the service wasn't rendered if you're questioning the service, et cetera. So I really, really, really would like you to push again to make sure that that's included. And then on the other front, there was something that was brought up tonight about assistive tech. Thank you for centering those conversations, both in the resolutions and with your conversation about the weekend academies. I know it's Saturday, Sunday, everyday academy now. Mark, I know I've spoken with you about that. That ties into the assistive tech, to the dyslexia conversations about supports for dyslexia. A lot of those services need to happen on those Saturdays, those Sundays. A lot of students aren't getting the reading intervention, the supports they need, especially emerging dyslexics in middle school who are often overlooked. So those compensatory services need to actually happen on the weekends. So thank you for trying to secure that in the budget. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Tam. Quickly, we're out of time, but Tam, so just so you know, DIIT can put a feature in, but what you're describing is a contract discussion that would have to happen between the union and the DOE in terms of when stuff has to be entered in the system. DIIT can only populate what they receive, and it depends on what the contract is between the union and the DOE in terms of when timing has to happen. So that may be the issue that has to come first, is that contract, and certainly that can be another discussion. But thank you. All right, we are at the end of our calendar meeting, but stay tuned. We have the business meeting coming up in just a few minutes, so we'll take a 5-minute break. It's 8:19. Let's come back at 8:25. We are adjourned for now. Thank you, everybody. See you in 5 minutes. Start. Thanks, Rose. It is 8:26. We are getting started. Apologies, the recording did not quite start. We are getting started with the Citywide Council on Special Education's business meeting, February 12th. All right, interpretation team has been dismissed because no one was using the service. So the first line item is the approval of minutes for December 18th of 2025 and January 15th of 2026. So those are in your packet and were emailed to each council member. We will first start with December 18 of 25.
Mark, should we do the roll call?
We will do that, but I want to make sure there are no other changes, and then we'll do the roll call. Are there any adjustments to the meeting minutes? We will then move on to the roll call. But are there any changes or amendments to the meeting minutes as presented, with the exception of the roll call for the calendar meeting? All right, if there's no feedback on that, then we will move to the roll call on the excused absences. So how this will work is there are two people who are listed as excused. Rose listed them as excused because they were given a reason. Rose was given a reason from the council members why they were not able to attend.
Which,
This is for December 18th. So this is December 18th. So Rose will go down the list for each council member and you'll say excused or not excused or abstain. Okay. So the first council member who was listed as excused is Heather Daly. Heather had a medical reason that was given to Rose. So Rose, can you do roll call, please? Yeah, we need to do it for each excused absence.
I'm confused now.
So we have to do roll call for each excused absence, just for council members to vote if they're excused or not excused or abstain.
All right, we are voting on the excused absences from the December 18th meeting.
First is Heather Daly.
You are approving whether or not you accept their excuse.
Yes.
Okay, Francesca?
Yes.
Joanne Cummings?
Yes.
Mark Gonzalez?
Yes, excused.
All right, Ron? He had to leave.
Ron had to leave. He had a family.
Maggie?
Yes.
Susie?
Yes.
And Irene?
Yes.
That is
Yes.
yes, excused. Okay, the second was Melissa Jackson. We still have to go through the vote. So Melissa did end up resigning for medical reasons. But we do need to do roll call for her. And she did submit information to Rose on medical.
Yes.
Joanne?
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Ron? Maggie?
Yes.
Susie?
Yes.
And Irene?
Yes.
Okay. Now we move all right, so if there are no other changes, then the meeting minutes are accepted as is. Okay, thank you. Next is Thursday, January 15th, 2026 meeting minutes. Are there any concerns with the meeting minutes as presented, with the exception of the calendar roll call, which we will go through? Okay, then Rose, can we go through the roll call? Irene was the excused absence for January.
So she did
And she,
an excuse before the meeting.
yes, thank you, Rose.
Okay. Francesca?
Yes.
Joanne?
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Maggie?
Yes.
Susie?
Yes.
No, if Irene wants to say yes.
Hmm.
Irene?
I have to say yes too, right? Thank you,
Thank you,
though.
Irene.
Thank you.
Good answer.
All right. Then with no changes to the meeting minutes, we will accept them as presented. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. All right, next meeting topic is the committee updates. We have 3 minutes for each. Francesca, can you start the 3-minute clock for annual report first? Yep. Okay, annual report team?
I don't have anything
Just
to report on the annual report, except that I need to get a committee meeting in the calendar so we can start looking at some stuff. So yeah, stay tuned. I'm gonna look at my calendar and see what I can do. And then I yield my time.
Thank you, Heather. All right, next is the Busing and Transportation Committee.
Do we still have? Okay, I was just making sure we saw the quorum. Okay, so updates on the Busing and Transportation Committee. We met on Monday. Maggie was there, Ron was there. We had one person from the public that popped in and then left. But basically, Ron gave a report back. He went to Albany on February 2nd and did some advocacy around busing with several state assembly and senators. I don't have their names off the top of my head. I wrote up a committee report and I sent the draft to you guys. I just need to get those names from Ron to put in. And then he had a really good letter that he wrote. And so we want to use that letter and tweak it a little bit so it's more specific for CCSE and also personalize it for with a paragraph for the governor, for the committees, specific committees like Education Committee and Disabilities Committee. And we also want to send a letter asking for support from I don't know what their title is, but it's a new position in the last like 3 years or so, that disability liaison from the state. So we want to send us a letter asking for support there as well. And so my role today is to come and ask a motion on the table to allow the Busing and Transportation Committee to complete that letter, those letters, and send them out on behalf of the CCSE.
So there's a motion from Heather and the Busing Committee to write a letter on behalf of the CCSE and to be able to distribute it. Is there a second?
I second it.
And also just so you all know, I did share before the meeting. I shared it out so you can read it. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. All right, there's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Right.
Opposed, abstentions? Okay, there you go.
Awesome. And then the last thing is for the next meeting, we started this, well, there's two things. We started discussing about, District 75 has a lot of data on their busing because they leave their survey open all the time on their website. It's like, has no end date. And so when people go to their website, they can click and they can submit responses to busing surveys. So we would like to do similar on our website so that at any time we can pull busing data and we can look at trends. So we want to do that. So we're going to start putting something like that together starting next month. And then the last thing is we also realized that it would be really nice to have an advocacy directory with all the state senators, like contact information, assembly people's contact information, who's on what committees. Sorry, I'm wrapping up. Our city council, press, and NYC, just all the people we need to email and contact. So I created an Excel spreadsheet and I shared it out. Right now, it's housed in the Busing and Transportation Committee. I feel it should be housed in the Communication Committee's folder, but it's accessible to everybody and everybody can work on updating it when they get new information or if they write somebody and you can put notes of what's been sent. So we can track and have one big directory that we all can utilize as a council for our advocacy.
Okay.
So is it okay for me to put in the Communications Committee?
You're part of communication.
Okay, good. Because I don't think it needs to live in the busing. I mean, we need it too, but everybody needs it, so it should be there, I think. Awesome, that's it.
Thank you.
Kevin. So.
Okay. Bylaws, Joanne? Microphone, please.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I sent out an email. I apologize for the delay. Everyone got it. Just but a couple brief attachments from the first special meeting. Basically, it was some confusion. The special meeting was just to clarify some information, just to see which bylaws we was governed under. And we figured that out, and that was the bylaws from 2023. Then we started just discussing a few things, that was on the council mind, some suggestions and stuff that came to head, and some of the suggestions that did come to mind was getting the meetings under the length of the meetings, getting it under 2 hours. Timekeeping, as you can see, this little beautiful clock, they was discussed. Suggestions, going, also came up, they're not sure, this was, I guess this was the test for the next meeting. 2 would be the test to see if we can get our meetings back to 2 hours or under, or it was a suggestion, if we would need to possibly consider splitting our meetings into 2 because we was not covering everything in the calendar in the business meeting. So that's food for thought. I did the timekeeping and also enforcing the council 3 minutes talking time, and possibly add a possible number of questions for the entire council. Basically, how many questions a council member can ask per meeting or discussion, depending on what's going category. That was also brought up. Council members' perceptions and challenges. Basically, council members emphasize the importance of having a clear understanding of the council priorities and the need for transparency. I'm just reading the highlight, I'm not going through everything. Council member highlights the challenge of engaging new members and the need for effective training and communication, which we started discussing. So when you read over that, you'll see some ideas in what we have discussed. Please feel free to email and give some more suggestions. Possible changes and improvement. Council members emphasize the importance of learning and following proper meeting procedures, as well as the need for clear communication and collaboration. Council members agree with the need for a timer and Robert Rules training, suggesting and amending the bylaws to reflect these improvements. Yes, please. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Can I request more time, please?
That's a motion. What do you want? How many minutes are you requesting? Yeah, 3. There's a motion for 3 more minutes. Is there a second? All right, motion second. All in favor?
Yes.
Okay, opposed, abstained. Okay, 3 minutes. Senator, please, and let's go. You're on, Joanne.
Thank you. Sorry. But that's stop. I'm sorry. Basically, possible changes and improvements, collaboration, training. Okay, so I did that. Suggestion to creating positions where, suggesting creating a position where a council member is upholding that all parties are being held accountable to all concerns. Public engagements and meeting protocols. We had spoke about a sign-in sheet, making sure that different ones are signing in that wants to speak, and so on and so forth, just making sure no one is feeling excluded. And we also spoke, I'm not sure if it came up, about possibly a website, get someone to help with the website. And under code of conduct, just speaking about the communication of protocols, email transparencies coming through, and outreach and communication issues, just making sure that others are aware and public awareness of different things that we have going on in our council. And I just want to let you know on that note, I went to a CEC meeting last night and they did highlight some of the stuff that we do have going on. And it was nice to hear. So, and they didn't even know I was from CCSE. I didn't even have that next to my name. So I just want y'all to know that, the word is getting out there about our different things and what we have going on. So I just want y'all to know. So that is very important. So I did send this to everyone, but Rose did ask me when is the next and our official bylaw meeting. I want to find out from everyone, but I know some members are not here. What is everyone's schedule like? When can we meet? If y'all can let me know so I can let Rose know. And also I'm gonna put an active live Google template so that updates can be made. But I want to make sure I make everyone a active user on it that's going to be on the committee. But I need to know when's everyone going to be available. And we need our lovely secretary on with us as well, Ms. Manchester. So please. No, it's okay. I took the notes and I have it. I shared it with you so you have it. Everybody actually had all the notes. I shared it with everyone, even Rose. So just let me know because I can let Rose know and we have to let her know in a timely fashion. So just everybody let me know as soon as you can. If y'all can let me know by the early part of next week, so I can let her know, but not this, it won't be this month, Rose. It won't be till like early March probably. Cause it's the break and I don't want to intrude on nobody's time during the break.
Okay. Rose?
Wanted to let everyone know the schedules for these committee meetings. The legislative committee meets on the first and third Mondays.
Typically,
Right?
yeah.
Virtue Talk, I'll send it to you. I email it to everyone. Virtue Talk is on the first Tuesday. Busing and Transportation, the second Monday. Communications and Outreach, third Wednesday. Health and Wellness on the fourth Monday. So you're not doing anything for February?
This is gonna be a temporary thing, so it's like only 1 or 2 meetings and that's it, so it's gonna be temporary, yeah, so. Everybody just review the minutes and get back to
You
me.
just have to schedule it and who can come.
Yeah, but I wanna make sure Francesca's available, so I gotta.
Yeah.
Mondays I can't. Mondays and Wednesdays, my kids have after school, so I can't do it in the evenings that day because I get home late, and all that stuff. Any other day I can do.
Any other day than Monday and Wednesday? Okay, so let me look at my calendar and stuff and let's see what we can plan. Okay?
Okay. All right. And just quickly, just for the record, technically it was a special meeting of the bylaws committee. It was not an official special meeting by law. And so it's just a Zoom meeting with the bylaws committee. So it was not an official special meeting where we held it in person. Just want to make sure everyone's aware. Okay. Just for clarity.
Yeah, that was really confusing to me because special meetings, we usually have to show up in person.
Required open meeting law.
I was so confused.
Yeah. This was a special committee meeting, which is still a committee meeting. All right, health and wellness. Susie.
Right, so just as Rose has announced, we actually will be having our second health and wellness meeting, and that will be taking place February 23rd. Everyone probably already realizes next week is midwinter break, so parents are going to be very busy with their children at home. So what we will be doing is we are going to be actually focusing on a little bit of the winter break blues, because some people do have the blues. So we're going to be working on a few little breathing techniques, exercises, and there's going to also be a prize giveaway. Nothing too exciting, so don't get excited. Not a brand new car. We're not doing the Oprah thing. We're just keeping it real simple. but just enough to generate a little bit of excitement and allowing parents, caregivers to give back to themselves. And that's important. Sorry, what was that?
This is during the committee meeting.
Correct.
It's on Zoom. It's on Zoom.
Via Zoom, via
Yeah,
Zoom,
it's
via
on
Zoom.
Zoom.
Yeah.
Is that gonna be like, are you gonna have a set, sorry,
Are you gonna have a set monthly meeting time that we can put repeating in the calendar?
Yes, we will, but right now, because everything is, we're in our infancy stage. Our very first meeting took place last month, the fourth Monday. As events and things begin to take place, for example, if it's Father's Day month and it's Mother's Day month, we may do a special hybrid type meeting where we're going to try to encourage people to come out and in person, and we can actually move and groove and do some things. So everything is still in the works, and we have 2 initiatives that we're working on as well.
Can you let everybody know what time this meeting starts?
Yes. I believe the meeting is set to start at 7.
is it in the calendar?
Let me see.
Is it on our calendar?
The last one started at
7 p.m.
What's correct? 7.
All right. Joanne?
Hi, and I just want to give a quick update. Tonight was the
Is this health and wellness? Okay. Yeah. It's part of it. Yeah.
Would you guys like to request for some more time? And let's just have.
I told you 3 minutes. It's not really long.
Okay, it's a motion for 2 minutes additional time. Is there a second, please?
Okay.
There you go. All in favor? Aye. All right. 2 minutes.
I just wanted to bring to everybody's attention, Rose and everyone, tonight was the first meeting with Citywide Wellness Advisory Council meeting. And I listened on my way in. So when I actually came in the room, I was actually still in the call, but I had to get off because we started our meeting. So their meetings, I believe, is going to be the second Thursday of the month. So, Paula said, Shancha said she'll send me the slides and stuff of what I missed. So I should have an update for everyone next month of everything that they was talking about and the different programs and different things they're gonna be implementing and gonna have in the schools and stuff. And so on, that y'all be able to take back to the schools and utilize everyone here on the council. I just wanted to share that.
Thank you. All right. Health and wellness, good? Okay. All right. Legislative is up next. Ron's not here, so I will do it. So we're a little date change for our next legislative meeting. We're going to do on March 4th, not the Monday. I apologize. I am in class on Mondays for the entirety of March, and so I'm not available because I have to go in person. So we're doing a little swerve. It'll be March 4th at 6:30 p.m. March 4th is the next legislative committee, and we'll get at that date, we'll have the next one, but it'll be a couple weeks later. Or 3 weeks later, I apologize. But we will definitely, so update, thank you for the passing the resolutions. We have a bunch more resolutions we are working on. We'll continue working on them at the March 4th. Encourage anyone and everyone to come and attend and contribute to the upcoming resolutions. There's 5 others that are actively being worked on, and I'm sure there'll be more that come up from all of you. The legislative breakfast. We need to talk about that. We obviously had to table it for March for lack of space. The options that we talked about in our last legislative meeting where we could do a May/June. There's a few dates in May, there's a date in June. We could look at pushing to like in September, October, and then do, start off the new year with a legislative meeting. Or we could say we want to do January, February, March next year. So there's kind of pluses and minuses of each of those times, but we need to decide as a council. I want to stress if we do a May or June, there's a lot of legwork that goes in. It's, coming in the night before to set up the room and get it ready and the decorations and get the tables and whatever else we're doing to prep it. There is a ton of legwork. We're going to need everyone at the meeting to do a role or multiple roles, real world. And then there is the breakdown cleanup after. And that doesn't even get to the real part of the work, which is engaging with our representatives and our community members to get them to come to work on the program, to work on the schedule, to work on their speakers. So there is a ton and ton of work, which we're going to need all hands on deck, meeting weekly, working not quite daily, but pretty hardcore to do in May, June. We'd have a little bit more time September, October. We'd have a little bit more time. Obviously, we do January to June. But I just want to put that out there. I'm going to send out emails to everybody early next week. And I just want to get your thoughts, and we'll talk about it at the meeting on March 4th and then at our next council. But just wanted to put that out there. Francesca?
In the past, when you've done this legislative breakfast, the response for people to attend, how long did it take?
We haven't done one in a number of years. I mean, the reality is you need to give at least 2 months to representatives. At least 2 months. So we'd have to start sending out invites ASAP. If we want to talk more, I need a motion to continue for 3 minutes if we want to, or, okay. Motion, second. Okay. It's a motion. It sounds like a second. Okay, thank you. All in favor of 3 more minutes?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Heather, Scott? Yeah, that's what we said.
Wait, have we considered partnering with the District 75 Citywide Council on the legislative breakfast? Because we have, all our students have IEPs, then we don't have to have legislatures come to 2 different events. Like, it makes sense to me because, I don't know, it's just something to consider. Maybe it's something we can joint plan and do together.
D75 already has their event scheduled. So, if we want to look at that for next year, certainly. But they've already got their plan, agenda, schedule, their strategy. But yeah. I know I met with Teresa today from CCEL, and we talked a little bit about that because it's under dial as well. There's overlap, there's not overlap. What's that?
We don't do well when we operate in silos. So yeah, we should try to unsilo some of the work that we're doing.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you. It kind of was our discussion, Teresa and I had about CCEL and, the collaboration we need to engage continuously. And I'll talk about more when we get to the president's meeting, message part in a few seconds, but we did talk to Christy a little bit. So anything else we want to discuss? I don't want to pin anyone down for a date yet because I want everyone to digest and think about it and see what makes sense. But I will send out early next week. I know it's vacation week for our students. And you youngsters aren't going to be on vacation in terms of you'll be dealing with the youngsters in some form. But I understand if it takes a little bit of time to get back because we know you're going to all be super busy. Heather?
So I know that we have a lot of like the budget and everything going through the state and that I guess for me is like what is the intention of doing the legislative breakfast? Is it to advocate an impact on this budget? Or is it really so they get to know us and the issues? Because if it's really about like meeting us and learning about our priorities and how we want to serve our students and how they can support as our representatives, then it might be better to schedule it when they're not in session. because they'll have more time to meet those.
Well, that's really for this council to decide. I mean, the idea of having it in March was because we could impact state budget. The reality is that's not going to happen. The reality with the May budget is the budget's going to be cooked for the most part at that point. So we're not going to hit the budget. That being said, we've been advocating and we advocate with the two resolutions today on the budget. So we've got that message out there. I think it's really more of engaging with them on what the priorities our students need and our families need. And that could be a May, June, that could be a September, that could be a January, February, March. It's what we feel as a council. And we'll get back to that. I know we're at time, but we'll get back. All right. Next on the list, I apologize, is the co-president report. Maggie, you want to go first? You want me to go first?
So can
Oh,
separately, 3 minutes each?
yeah,
instead
yeah,
of Combining it?
yeah.
Okay.
We skipped over the communications.
Oh, Maggie, I'm so sorry. I apologize. Thank you. Gee whiz, I apologize. That's me.
Yeah, I was like, wait, am I?
No, you're not supposed to be. I apologize.
Okay.
But we're saving the best for last, the communications committee. I'll say that about every group, by the way.
So Joanne and I are chairs of the Outreach and Communications Committee. So for the, we also have the subcommittee virtual talk. We, our meeting for the, oh, my bad. For the Outreach and Communications Committee meeting, we reviewed the housekeeping items, so guided by our council's code of conduct. So just simple community norms for council meetings, like calendar business and committee meetings that includes just materials shared to the public. So whatever we shared out as a council. Still working on those, and any feedback, we'll welcome any feedback, any work we can do on the shared folders for each committee. And we'll be working on issues regarding our website. So I know, Joanne, we're connecting with somebody that can maybe able to manage our website and social media. We're still trying to get the feet on that and just to bring forth to the council for the council's consideration. And then as a side note, we'll also be putting together an updated list on legislator contacts. Very important for the work that the other committees are doing, especially legislative committee. We'll touch base with you, Rose, on that. But we just want to put that together to help the council, whoever wants to volunteer to take a few of the legislators and have that connection and outreach. They could do that. So that's kind of the work. Joanne, do you want to do virtual talk?
Hi, good evening again. Virtual talk was very nice and interesting. Our student member was actually there at our virtual talk, our last one, this past last week. Was it John Gerber?
Jonah.
He's a very nice young man, and he gave a lot of nice insight. And one of the things he brought to the table, and he let us know, was when he entered school in the 9th grade, there was a program that was offered to him that actually explained his IEP and gave him a better understanding of his IEP, because that was something that, sorry. Can I get an extra 2 minutes, please?
For a second.
Thank you.
Second, all in favor?
Thank you.
Aye.
There we go.
And that was something that is very important for our young people, because you're starting to get at that age where you have to start advocating for yourself. And he was saying how a lot of his friends and his peers are do not get that class and don't know how to advocate and how to speak up for themselves at this point. And he just went on and talked about a lot of good things and a lot of things that was very helpful and a lot of things that opened our eyes to a lot of different things. And so with that being said, that's one of the things that's stood out in my head. And I said I was going to bring to council about possibly setting up maybe one evening or one Saturday for like about 2 hours, 3 hours. We can do like, I could do like a Zoom workshop, and it be open to all students who's interested. Just learning about the basic of understanding that IEP, how to read it, just learning the basic, and just seeing what do y'all think about that. But it was very interesting how he spoke of it, and I was speaking to Dow, and because we was getting ready, prepping for a meeting, and I forgot the gentleman that was on the call with us, and I was telling them about the idea and how the young man spoke so well and and how he was talking about certain things, and they was telling me how nice of a gentleman he is and how well spoken young man he is, and I said yes he is, and I just met him for the very first time, and I just everybody just has so much nice things to speak about him. He's such a nice young man, really is. Really is. So I just wanted to just bring that to the table to everyone. And it was a very interesting conversation because he had everyone engaged on the call.
Thank you. Rose?
Yes, I wanted to go back to your suggestion of using someone to manage the website. We have to find out, and I don't know if it'll be done this year because we have to make changes to our budget and add a line for a consultant line also and move money into that. We're not gonna have time for that because that's going to happen on the 21st. That's the last day for us to make that change. So I don't know if it's something you want to do this year or at the beginning of the term in July, but
Wait, so is that this month? The 21st of this month?
this month, February 23rd, is the last day for us to make any changes to our budget. He's gonna have to send us a bid or something on what his prices are. But he's not gonna get that to us in time.
We'd have to hold a special meeting
He's
in
usually-
person. Change the budget. We have to do a special meeting.
He should,
It's fine.
you should have that by tomorrow. I'm out next week. You have to let me know.
Yeah.
I have his number. I'm gonna look to see if I have his number, so I can send it to you, Rose, if you want to reach out to him.
Otherwise,
Reach out.
July is right around the corner. If we need to wait till July, July is right around the corner. So,
We'll have to work on our budget.
yeah. Go ahead, Heather. Sorry.
As the person who has been maintaining and doing the website for the last, 2.5 years, I just want to put it out there that I'm not privy to any of these conversations and left out of all of these conversations, and I'm having feelings about that. I'm sitting here trying not to take this as criticism. Yeah, this what's happening right now is not okay. And just want to put it out there. I'm done.
I'm sorry, Heather, it was just something I suggested at the meeting we had the other day, and I forgot how it came up because something was said and then it was mentioned that it was having problems with the website. So I just suggested somebody that I know that somebody we had used, or a lot of the districts had used this particular person. So I just suggested it and they asked to, I said I would share the contact information. That's it. I apologize. I'm sorry.
Maggie?
I don't want you to feel like that, Heather. Listen, thank you for all your work on the website. Unfortunately, it can't be all on you. it just can't. You are doing the busing committee, you're doing so much, you've done so much. So, I mean, I've tried to tap you on some things about this, but it's too much. And Rose and we as with the communications committee, that's under our purview. So with Rose, it has been, uploading things in the website. There's still things that she needs to work on, like that she's not, she's not able to do, because she needs, I guess, to know how to do those things. That's where a webmaster would come in handy for that. So that's where the idea arose, because at this time, the website, there's some things that are still they're still not working. So it's not an emphasis on you and the work that you've done. The reason why the website it is how it is because the work that you and Rose have done. But we're in the communications committee now.
This is a different, So, is it
Francesca?
So like, Heather, I hear you, and I know like you volunteered to do it, and you're doing everything, and I think you're doing great. My question is now, instead of you guys hiring somebody, is there something against hiring her because she's here and she has instant access and she's been doing it so far? Like, is there like a thing of she can't do it because she's part of the C?
You cannot
So-
hire a CCEC member to do a job within the CCEC. We're volunteers.
I think this is just a different conversation that can't happen right now. Because the website, the way that I set it up was to make it so that it can be updated by everybody. So everybody needs to take part. So when you have a committee meeting, you put it in the calendar, and I've sent out links with a scribe how to do that. Once it's in the calendar, it syncs to the website. So when things are out of date on the website, it's because people are not putting them where they need to go. And I don't know how else to make that happen. And I don't think it's worth our time to hire somebody for $3,000 to put things in a Google Calendar. We can do that. But people have to do it. Unless there are other big things that are not working on the website. I think
We heard on our last outreach and communications committee, we heard feedback from the public where they tried to subscribe using the website and it wasn't working. There's things, for example, if you go on the videos, it is working, but it's still difficult to upload. So I don't know how to do it. I don't know. There's things that that is just a lot of time and effort. It might be easier, for others than I guess people like me, but it's just, yeah.
For our next communication committee, we can certainly bring this up and talk further about strategy moving forward. But there's obviously some work that needs to be done internally. Rose said something.
Why this didn't come to the communication committee, or the website, person before bringing it here?
So that we can discuss in the communications committee when they have their next meeting. So, all right, we're a little past time on this discussion. Let's move on. Next is the co-president's report, 3 minutes each. Maggie, you want to go? You want me to go?
No, you.
Okay, so let me gonna try to keep it under 3 minutes. Francesca, start the clock. I'll make it go. We met with Superintendent Chancellor Samuels. Sorry, I'm from D3. Chancellor Samuels, all the CCEC presidents had a Zoom meeting with him. Here was the key takeaways. He talked about his 3 main points, which are rigorous schools for all. That means if you need an IB school or a specialized school, focus on them. That means if you need extra support, focus on them. Reach the student where they're at and bring them to where they can be, meet their potential. And so he really focused on that, rigorous for all students. He talked about safe schools. That was important. And then he focused on true integration of schools. So he really wanted to focus on integration. And being from D3, I can tell you, as a legislative breakfast today for D3, as a D3 parent, that came up again because that's what Kamar Samuels' hallmark is, what he did with integration within D3 and is currently going. He also talked about meaningful engagement. And his question for us, and that's everybody, is what does meaningful engagement to you? He started earlier this week his 10 meeting tour of the 5 boroughs. He's meeting twice in each borough. Community should have received the emails on that with invites. Yeah, so and so there's multiple dates for each borough and times, so that way he can reach the most people. I encourage you to attend because he wants the engagement. He wants to understand what true meaningful engagement means for everybody. He was asked about dyslexia programs and ASD programs. He specifically said he supports both and is looking for expansion. He was asked about the focus as a new chancellor. He talked about increasing funding weights for students with disabilities, for students in temporary housing and multi-language learners. So that was a big deal. He talked about foundation aid at state level at 3.5% is not enough, that we need more funding. That's why Mayor was up at Albany yesterday looking for more funds. Certainly there's the foundation aid, transition aid, and charters, which is worth about $500 million a year of additional funds we should be receiving at least. He does support mayoral control. He does support the class size law. He knows there's challenges that have got to be worked on at the community, at the school level. And he wants to make sure students with disability are not left out of the 2 Cares program. That's the new 2-year-old program. We had a face call. New face leader Lopez is meeting with each CCEC president. She wanted to introduce herself, talk about partnership, and then she wants to set up an entire meeting with the entire council, date to be determined. So we need to get together as a council and figure out a date for that. All right, I will leave it there. Thank you.
Okay, so let's see. Um, Yeah, so I'll be sharing the link again for the committee folders. I had shared that before, so everybody can make sure to have access on the drive. And there was a city council hearing and mayoral control. The last day to submit written testimony was today. Some of us attended virtually, in person. There was an IBO workshop on the New York City budget, also very important. I'll find the information, share in the chat. I attended the district with Mark, attended the District 75 substitute paraprofessional recruiting event. And there was a CCHS meeting yesterday where a superintendent talked about AI use in his district. Let me go back to, and then yeah, we met with the chancellor. So from the January 22nd, I believe, meeting, one of the things that kind of like were that he highlighted were that his goals for 100 days was to visit 45 districts in the first and 45 superintendents in the first 60 days. He also mentioned his priorities were school safety, physical and emotional, and that includes student voices, rigorous and truly integrated schools, and high quality programs in neighborhood schools. So there was a lot of discussion about SEA and work that needs to be done around that. And then there was discussion also about the chancellor was going to follow up on charter school utilization in District 30. There were some issues there. And so they made it very clear that the administration stands on NYC being a sanctuary city, and the protection of families from ICE entering our schools. Yep, that's it. Thank you.
I'd like to see.
Go ahead. Sorry. Susie, you want to talk before we go to member reports?
Only because of time restriction for me right now. I'm just wondering if we can move up the treasurer's report.
We can move the treasurers. Go ahead. Yep, treasurers.
Rose, can I call on you? I'm so sorry. I know we were just speaking about the deadline and everything with the budget, but we all have a copy of the February 2026 financial report, and I just kind of want to just make mention of it briefly, so that way I can still, that makes it. Yes.
What's your question?
Oh, no question. It was just that we're gonna move up the
No, it's
treasurer's report.
it's fine. So is there anything you want to report on it?
No, I just kind of wanted to clear everything with Rose. Do you feel like everything is okay as it stands right now? Because I know we're talking about the budget
And there hasn't been much activity except for member reimbursement. So right now, what you see here is where we are. We are at, as far as the balance in member reimbursement, we're at 13,000. The P card's still at 500. We haven't used it yet. Meeting expenses, which really right now is food, we're still at 1,700. The travel arrangements for me, we're at $300 now, but it's probably gonna go up because I'm gonna take an Uber tonight. I'm carrying too much stuff now. I'm sorry. It's too heavy. And for general supplies, we're at $2,016. I do have to place an order for supplies, but if you are going to have an event this year before June 30th, I need to know what supplies you want to order because I have to put an order in and use a purchase order, and it has to be done by March 31st or April 1st, one of those days.
We'll know on March 4th.
Okay, thank you for that.
Okay, and now to member reports. Member reports?
Member
Susie?
updates?
Member updates. Yeah, sorry, member updates.
Well, just quickly, what I'd like to say before having to commute out is I just wanted to acknowledge Anita, who is here on Zoom, and Cindy, of course, who is just newly elected on our council. So congratulations. I just wanted to acknowledge these two wonderful moms because they have been in great support of our Health and Wellness Committee and also spreading that joy and that positivity can just go a long way in impacting so many parents that need a little bit of uplifting and such. So I just wanted to, look at the hearts, some of the hearts. But we love you, we appreciate you, and we thank you for your involvement, and we're really exciting moving forward and moving ahead. So thank you all for being a part of it, and may we ignite all of the excitement and health and wellness onto others. Thank you.
Thank you. Next member report. Okay. All right. Okay, there we go. Next business is our unfinished business interpretation. Rose, any further update on interpretation? Give her a second, please.
What I wanted to suggest on the interpretation request for the committee meetings, I'm going to finish scheduling them out to June 30th. But in the announcement, I'm going to include this, I'm going to read it out to you. Interpretation services will be provided upon request. If you require interpretation services, please submit your request to CCSE schools with the subject line, interpretation request, 2 days before the date of the meeting. If we receive something 2 days before the date of the meeting, or if we don't receive anything, on the next day, which we give OLA 24 hours, I'm going to cancel it.
Okay. So you'll schedule them and then you can deschedule within 48 hours or 24 hours and then we're not paying.
Yes.
Okay, that sounds
Sounds
perfect.
fair.
And in that message, can that be in multiple languages? We need to get OLM to translate it multiple languages, please. So that way they've got it. And then you'll have to be able to read multiple languages for the request.
Exactly. You know, that's another thing too. We are limited, maximum rather, to 3 languages.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Okay, no, I think that's great. Okay. Thank you, Rose. New business, council meeting topics. Do we want to talk about that now or do we want to wait till March 26th? And the reason we put that on the list is we are running out of meeting topics for presenting at these meetings. Yeah. So if we want, we can table that till March 26th. We have a March meeting scheduled. We do not have an April meeting topic at this point. The March topic is on special education curriculum for multilingual learners. I'm butchering the exact title. That's not the exact title, but that's the basis of it. And at that point, our April meeting is kind of an up in the air. There was a few things that we still have listed for priorities that we gave back in August, September. So DOE is still working on those few priorities that are left, but we need to start looking because we're going to need additional topics. So we will table that. The next thing was there was discussion in the communications committee about changing the way we have public comment and having it similar or in a way like the PEP has, where you register within the first, before the meeting or within the first 15 minutes or X number of minutes of the meeting, you register either online or you fill out a form here to speak for public speaking during the public speaking section. Is that something that we want to do, or do we just want to do raise your hand?
Can I
Heather,
just, sorry, can I just,
Heather had her hand up first, and then we'll go to you.
so quick correction on that though?
Okay, thank you.
No, we did not speak on, about that on the communications committee.
I apologize. I thought that was that mean. My apologies.
Sorry, yeah.
Okay. Heather, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, in the whole time that I've been on council, and this is my 5th year, we've never had, there's only one meeting I can think of where public comment took up a lot of the meeting, and that was with the homeschool. We're not gonna pay for your services because you didn't fill a form out.
The IESP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think our council can manage public speaking fine without having you have to sign up by 5:30 or you won't be able to speak kind of situation. I think what we've done for topics that we think are going to have more public that want to speak, we have the sign up form, then we just post in the chat a bunch of times. And then it just gives us the order and the list to call on the public. And we've only used that a couple of times when we know there's people that want to speak. I think our council is unique in that we allow a lot of commentary in the chat. We encourage our public to meet each other in the chat, to collaborate in the chat. And we've been fortunate for the most part to have people be very civil in the chat. which has been great. Because it really does take a community, and I think I look at this council as a place where we're building community as much as we're informing people and educating, right? And empowering, and because I couldn't get my kid where he is now without the community of people that I built around me in the special education world, right? So a lot of other councils don't allow people to put things in the chat, or they limit what you're allowed to post in the chat. And I think we're unique and we don't do that. We want our public to have a voice and have a place to put their comments and things on a public record, right? So I don't know that it's absolutely necessary to do like a sign-up sheet like that. And even when we do put the form out, we still say, did everybody get a chance? If you didn't get a chance to sign up, please raise your hand. Like I think we do a really good job of making sure the public has time to speak. And sometimes, and I'm willing to even like sacrifice my own time and some of the topics that we want to cover at the meeting if it's really important that the public speak. Because they don't have the same privilege we do with the access that we have to the people in the special education office and the public schools. And so our meetings are a place where they can show up and have direct access to those people. And I think our number one duty is to provide space for the public to be able to access and give them that privilege and that time. And to put things on public record. Public record is important. And I know I'm gonna call it Jen Che, she's not here, but she comes and she'll just talk just so it's on the public record. And there's value in that, and it's important. So I've gone on a little bit, but yeah, I don't think we need a sign up form that gets cut off at a certain time.
Maggie?
So the reason behind the sign up would be just simply for organizing purposes. I don't think that we've ever used it as a limit to public being able to speak, but we've utilized it before. So just to have it, not that anybody has to use it, but it's good for the public to kind of have it, to know that they can sign up and it could be organized, and it'll help us like keep track of who's first or who's second. And then something to also think about is when we have in-person attendees, do we give them a sign up for them, or how do we know like them particularly? It's a little bit hard to know who's first, who raised their hand first, or who, kind of like just to keep it organized.
I don't have a problem with that. I just don't like the idea of cutting it off. Like if you don't sign up by this time, then you don't get to speak. I don't like that. But I think it's okay to have the link to the forum and people and it's the same one. We can just use the same sign up for public speaking and put the link in and then share it to you guys to look at. The results will pop up as they're filling out the form, and then you just have it there. And then you just delete out the responses from the previous meeting and you go from there. It's easy to use.
And I want to highlight, again, state law that put this council in effect. The fourth point in the law says, hold at least one meeting per month open to the public and during which the public may discuss issues facing students with disabilities. So that is one of our core tenets, is that engagement of the public and their opportunity to speak. And I agree. I don't want to limit access to the public because it's honestly written law that they are absolutely entitled by law to be able to speak. That being said, they like every other person, there's meeting, limits on the amount of time. And we have a 3 minutes in our bylaws, and that's great, but we want to make sure we are inclusive and allow our public to speak. But Heather, you're right. We've had, one time where we had a large contingency of audience.
And honestly, I would rather have a meeting where the public comes and talks for 2 hours and we don't say anything, than us talk and not have the public a chance to talk.
I think we had a busing meeting, 2-3 years ago, that was about 3 hours of just discussions because we didn't have quorum, and we talked busing the entire time. And that was one of the best meetings we had because we actually worked out a lot of stuff. And we got a lot of ideas that actually are part of what the resolution was that we passed earlier this term. A lot of that came from a meeting a couple of years ago, a few years ago. So, okay. Thank you. CCHS update.
Wait, so
Oh,
Mark,
sorry, Maggie, I apologize.
point of
Maggie,
order, where do we stand on the public speaking sign up form?
doesn't sound like we're gonna have
Can we have a,
Post the form and then use it when we need.
is that what we're doing? We're gonna post the form?
we're using it when we need it, it sounds like.
Does everybody agree with that? Does the council agree with that?
Technically, we can't.
We don't have quorum any longer. We can't vote on anything, so. Yeah, CCHS,
Hello. Hello.
hello.
Hello. Hi. 2 long nights in
Thank
a
you,
row.
Kim.
It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. I would have come there. I was debating to come in person or not, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to stay home. Um, so apologies for not being there in person though, but it's good to see everyone. I'm also happy to see that Cindy also will be serving, being service as well, which is great because I know that she's a real champion and out there, and I think she'll be great for the District 75, students and population. On the CCHS, we did have our calendar and business meeting last evening. We are also reviewing our bylaws, and one of the main things that we wanted to do is have a training on the open meetings law because there tended to be various interpretations based on convenience for individuals who attended or who were setting rules and whatnot. So we wanted to make sure that we all had a baseline. It was actually an excellent meeting. I had engaged the New York State Committee on Open Governance, and I had Kristen Bergen. She was the trainer, and she did an excellent, excellent job. She not only gave us an overview of the law, but she also was able. We had a list of questions and use cases and scenarios that we've encountered, and we asked her to give us what the parameters were around it, so we could have a real dialogue, which was incredibly, incredibly helpful. So if you are interested in doing something like that for yourselves as well, I strongly encourage it. And it's free, it's available. You just reach out and you can schedule it however you want, which is great. And then also there were 4 resolutions that were actually presented yesterday. 2 of them did pass unanimously. And I'm sorry, I'm blanking on which ones they were. I believe the one was around the expansion of the CTE education, which I thought was, great to kind of like offer different options for our students. And the other one was, and I can't remember what the other one was at the moment, so I apologize. I have to go back and look at my notes. Actually, which I do have them quickly, but I'll let you know because I don't have them quickly here. Here we go. Sorry, I'm a little disorganized. But the other thing, there is a new AI public school that was presented at the meeting yesterday, which there were several of the council members who were not aware of the school being this new school that is opening in the fall, being presented. So just to be aware, it is in Manhattan. They are looking at it to be a screen school, which we're looking to, there's some other things that we're trying to look at that too and say, does it need to be or not? So those are just questions right now that are open for us as some of our council members and as we'll continue moving forward. It wasn't, we didn't publicly discuss it, but I know for myself, that was one of the questions that I had. The other was, the journalism for
Tammy,
all.
would you like to extend your time?
Oh, yes, I would like to extend my time. Sorry, 3 more minutes, but I'll try to wrap it up quickly, if that's okay. So yes, the other resolution that was approved or unanimously was to expand journalism for all. We had the Young Journalism Club present at our meeting last month, and they were phenomenal. And they have been working with CUNY to develop a curriculum that they wanted to have available to all public schools, especially if they currently do not have journalism clubs or a program. And then there was another one around having a career aptitude assessment. I know some of the council members opposed. It did pass, but not unanimously. There were several council members who did oppose it because of the use of the term aptitude and some fear around that of tracking individuals in 9th and 11th grade. Even if it wasn't designed to be used in that way, that sometimes people do end up having some unconscious biases around how they present and then engage with students based on things that they learn about them. And then also the other was around changing the eligibility for parents on the CCHS, CCEL appointee, changing that particular eligibility not to, they could, as long as they were a C-cell parent at some point in time, they could serve in that role. So it could be somebody who had a child in as an L in elementary school, they're now in high school, but no longer are an L and are in that program. That was the resolution that was proposed. Again, that one did not pass unanimously because we felt that there needed to be some parameters around it so that they were aware of the challenges within the high school environment. And the reason they were talking, why they wanted it was to really to expand the pool rather than focusing on the root cause of actually outreach to the families, to engage the parents who could serve on this seat by expanding accessibility from a language perspective. They chose to say, oh, well, let's just expand the population. So it was just a little bit of a different perspective on that. So those are some of the key updates. I do want to kind of keep in mind that there are some things that we're all strongly supportive of. There's some that we do have some differing perspectives, and it really is a split. There are some splits within the council. So I want to make sure that we have the voice of both sides.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you for representing us, and thank you for sticking around in the update. Appreciate
Oh
it.
yeah, no problem. Oh, one other thing, I would love to develop a resolution around to promote having the IEP training for all students in high school when they enter in high school. And I know Joanna was talking about that on how the student representative is doing that, and I would love to engage with a few of you to draft a resolution around that because it would be high school relevant for students with disabilities. So,
Okay, thank you. We'll,
yeah.
we'll get back to you, but yeah, that sounds good. Thank you, Kim.
Thanks.
Tamika, anything from Face?
Good evening, everyone. Just a reminder, on February 26th, FACE is having their second PD for council members. That one will be on Robert's Rules of Order and parliamentary procedures. So you should have received an email in regards to that upcoming professional development training. So thank you.
Thank you, Tamika. All right, that is the end of our agenda tonight. For everybody, thank you for sticking around. Appreciate all you do for our community. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you in March 26th, 6:30 p.m. here at Tweed or on Zoom. Good night, all.
Kim?
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
hello.
you.
I heard my name. Did I hear my name?
Kim, yes, this is Rose. Can you email me the information on the open meetings workshop?
Yes, I will do that. No problem.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Everybody have a good night.
Good night.